Hello, konnichiwa, hola, hola everyone, welcome to the stream. Hello, birthday week! Hi, my name is Leo, I'm your resident demi vampire singer and professional simp, and today we are hopefully maybe kind of finishing Lake of Voices, maybe? I don't know, after the huge like lore drop that happened last stream. I'm not sure if we'll be able to, but at least we'll try. Yeah, there was a little bit of lag in the beginning because suddenly my PC just stopped sensing the it's not the Wi-Fi because it's not connected to the Wi-Fi, it's directly connected to the Ethernet, but for some reason it just suddenly stopped detecting that and the lag happened, but it should be fine now. So let me know if everything's working correctly as it should. But yeah, anyway, thank you for stopping by, Confused. And hello, Maple and Milky Way. Hi, thank you for being here. So Last time, we got a huge lore drop about the true identity of both Lou and the guide. And turns out they're both Nixie, and that the whole thing about crossing the river and oh no, it's dangerous at night. But we can only do it at night because the bridges only show up at night. But they're afraid of the light. It was all a lie, and they're just playing along to keep that lie in order to protect their kind and from humans, and in the process, you know, sacrificing humans just to keep the scary stories and the facade up. So that's fun, and we were offered to either not necessarily become one of them, but like continue our lives and be kind of like an accomplice in a way, because you would know but you wouldn't be able to tell other people about the true you know, the truth about it, and or just die. And we chose to die because we have dignity. We're not sold that easily, and we only knew Lou for like a day. So anyway, so today we're gonna continue that. We're gonna actually load and choose the other option, which was instead of I can't, as in I can't just live with that, I want a chance. Like, I'm gonna comply and see where that takes us. Because also, if you guys didn't know, we're at the point where I'm trying to get all the endings instead of like actually of just playing blindly the game. So right now we're in like the unlocking of all the Steam achievements and routes and all of that. So yeah. Alright, let us get started. Lou lets loose a sigh of relief like a gale. He shoots me an emotionally charged expression before shifting hopefully to the guide. Welcome back, Maple. The guide keeps his focus fixed on me. I accidentally clicked right instead of left. Hold on. There we go. Thank you, thank you! The guide keeps his focus fixed on me.
Your understanding did something we failed to do. Save one of our own. I see no reason to refuse your honest request. There is an island the bridges do not connect to. It is yours to live on.
So I can just... I can't go back... Okay. So the... This is a very bad deal. Why would anyone ever take it unless you're like actually trying to do this, like me? So you're not allowed to go back to just normal civilization, nor help the people you need to help on the other island. You just get to keep living by yourself on an island and make do with what you have, and if not, then I guess you starve to death or something. I don't know. The dead end is magically restored by the sunken bridge rising up from below. Yeah, we're doing a new ending right now. What we're doing is choosing the other option of like, instead of the I can't and then just dying, we're now seeing like what happens when you're like, okay, sure, fine, I'll take the deal and survive, even though I'm the only one. So yeah.
That temporary pathway will take you there. The maze will still sink as a whole rather soon, for it cannot be up during the day.
Okay.
However, if you do enter the water, no harm will come to you now.
Interesting. Good to know, I guess. I'm not able to take a step onto the new avenue in front of me. My life had been forfeit only seconds before, and now the sudden shift is too jarring to process. Something gently brushes my arm. I jump, causing Lou himself to flinch at my response. He smiles at me apologetically. He had been trying to get my attention. I don't even know when he got so close. Before he can vocalize his thoughts, the guide interrupts.
Return to the lake, Lou. You need to start healing. It will only worsen here in the open air. You can meet Kika on the island. You need not worry.
But... just do it. Just do
It's
the,
all right.
that. At this point, I'm just not very fond of this guy. I was kind of warming up to him in the beginning, and then all the lure drop happened, and I was like, you know what? No, he sucks. It is his fault we're in this situation. He likely doesn't want me to be alone, nor does he want to be alone himself. Oh, hello. My dog was trying to catch my attention. All of a sudden, he just entered the room. Sorry about that. He likely doesn't want me to be alone, nor does he want to be alone himself. He remains unsure, and I harden my expression at him. Yes, be harsh. He finally stops resisting his need to rest. First, he merely backs away from me, before then leaping into the water. Oop, hold on guys. I'm back. Yeah, Lou is a little bit annoying after all of this, but it is the route he's in. Sorry, I was just like taking care of my doggo that wanted my attention, and now he's playing by himself. Anyway, he finally stops resisting his need to rest. First, he merely backs away from me before then leaping into the water, vanishing under the murky surface. I stare blankly at the water, which stills in a matter of seconds, as I have seen it do more than once. So the water really is like kind of oily here. The guide manifests beside me. I don't react to his presence.
I would like to know why you chose to stay. I ask you not to judge, but so that we may be more accommodating if you had some sort of hope as to what your life will be.
It's a loaded question. I wonder how I could possibly even articulate my reasons for choosing this, especially to him. Oh. Alright, we have options. Choices. Bemelle. I miss Bemelle. Bemelle's a great guy. Alright, this one is not timed, so I can just do not answer him. I can leave Lou. I can still help. I'm assuming that depending on what you choose, each one will give you like a different ending. Let's just say I can still help, because it's not about Lou for me, honestly. He quirks an eyebrow curiously.
It doesn't matter if I am in my village or here. As long as I am still breathing, I can work towards finding ways to save others.
How honorable of you, Kika.
I will not
honestly,
give up.
You're the best character in the entire game, which makes sense because you're the protagonist, but still. There we go. I drank some water. I can sympathize with his position and understand that his intentions are for the good of his people. That does not mean I must accept the framework he presents. Considering we both want to protect those we care for, though in different ways, it seems cause to throw up my hands and say it is fair enough. Progress cannot be made by stating your views without challenge. Moments ago that wasn't an option for me, but circumstances have changed. I intend not to waste the opportunity. He then removes his eyes from me and looks off into the distance.
I see. I wonder who will be moved to change, if either of us ever are.
He pauses for a moment, drinking in the view of morning light shining against the dark waters.
Perhaps it won't be only one of us who changes.
He brings his gaze back to me, though he says nothing. I mean, Lou has already kind of changed, so, you know, it's progress. Hello, Quickard. Welcome. With that, he promptly walks down the newly risen bridge. I teeter back, unsure of myself. Is it teeter or tether? I don't know. Before he can walk too far away, I force myself to follow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Bemelle, to Margaret. I forgot that Lou just threw Margaret into the water to get eaten alive. I had forgotten about that. I can't forgive him. Margaret was great. Man. To the villages of Hammer, and to everyone who put their faith in me. Absolutely, you should sub. I bid all of them a forlorn farewell, internally, as I continue behind the guide on the bridge into the unknown. Did you know that by subscribing and also joining the Discord server, you are now part of the self-proclaimed cult by Khan, and you get to well, you don't get to by because of that. Yeah, I know you're already in the Discord server, but I'm just giving my speech here in general. And after that, like, by joining and also subbing, you are offering your kneecaps to me for whenever I require them for my collection. So yeah. Anyway. Why should you need kneecaps? Just because. You don't need to know. But everyone's kneecaps here are mine to take whenever I choose to. Ask Khan. Anyway, let's continue. As I set foot onto the shore of this new island, the guy disappears without another word. I'm not alone for very long. Lou rises up from the lake to greet me. Though they're far from completely healed, his wounds seem considerably improved and no longer seep wide. Whatever was keeping me standing fades and my knees buckle beneath me. I let myself fall backwards into the soft sand. Well, at least there's soft sand. For a time, neither of us say a word. We just listen to the whisper of black, heavy water lapping at the edge of the island. Eventually, I hear him swallow. His meek, breathy words just barely break through the waves of the lake.
Sorry you have to be here. I never thought.
You didn't think? Wow, what a revelation. Oh no, Maple. Just by subscribing as well, you are part of the Kneecaps Club. So, your kneecaps are mine. I have a collection now of the kneecaps of 943 people. They are mine for the taking. Anyway, he starts to ramble on. As he continues to babble near nonsense, I delicately cut through his tangle of words. Quicker.
My mission
I think you
ultimately
don't
the same.
understand. It's either
I
the
want to
channel
protect
or the
others.
Discord server. It
I would
doesn't
like you
matter.
to help me.
Ow, my back hurt. Anyway. My mission is ultimately the same. I want to protect others. I will let you to help me.
Of course. I'll do anything I can if it will help.
Feeling guilty now, are we? My face glows with a smile at his words.
I'm grateful for that. I will need your knowledge and advice on how to speak with Nixie. It is unclear what I'll be capable of, but I'll need to continue speaking with the guide. If he cannot change,
Then nothing
will.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want everything to stay how it is either. And
So we're
I think you will be
striving
able to manage
towards
something.
change for
After all,
humanity in the
you've already
future?
made a massive difference by being here.
I hope deep in my heart that he is right. I will do whatever I can to ensure that it is. Ow! I hit my hand. There may be no way to save everyone, but that doesn't mean I will allow that to stop me from saving anyone. But I want my friends back. Maybe I'm just too selfish. The island is much larger than the one used during crossings. I'm grateful for that, at least. I can continue my training regimens each day, but both out of habit and a desperate attempt to maintain some normalcy. Yup. Lou and the other Nixie bring me food and books and other items from the other side. I have learned that Lou and the guide are not the only Nixie who can speak my language or take human form, though not all can manage bodies with so much detail. Oh, I thought I clicked. Whoop! What? There we go. And some do not have a nocturnal lifestyle either. Is this way I've become acquainted with many more Nixie. The island and lake are constantly busy. It's almost like a small village. Yet the minor familiarities are not enough for me to forget the situation I'm in, or what happened to bring me here. I think of Bemelle and Margaret daily. How could I escape such thoughts when I am surrounded by their final resting place? I only pray that they can find peace. And the guide? Whenever I can, I tell all the Nixie who will listen about my hopes for the future. Many are committed to the guide's plan, and it is difficult for me to gauge what kind of impact I'm having. What kind of impact I'm having. I have also spoken with the guide on the subject. Each day at sunrise, he appears on this island for a short time. I cannot tell if it is courtesy or curiosity that brings him. Perhaps both. Regardless, I am grateful for the opportunity to speak with him. We have discussed Atlanta ideals. Neither of us has changed our stance in a meaningful way. At least, not yet. With each day, I feel more comfortable speaking frankly with the guide, and I understand more of how to approach him. He also seems to be more accustomed to me. He no longer sees a need to be secretive, or keep his dear thoughts hidden. I mean, after all, I'm in an island. What can I do to attack them anyway? They will, strike me down before I can do anything. Anyway, yet that won't matter if the situation remains as it is. I keep my spirits up by remembering Lou's words. My simply being here has already caused a great shift in these stagnant waters, and my determination will not fade so easily. Whether it is the Nixie, their leader, or the lone human who has come to reside here, or all of us, somehow, in some way, Sinless will change. Alright, that was a goodish ending, all in all. Beside the fact that all my friends died, but yeah. Yatta! Birthdays! So Cooker is tomorrow. Maples is on Thursday. What are we playing on Thursday? I forgot. Oh, my bow to my leash. And tomorrow we're playing Slay the Princess, so I hope you guys like those. They will be fun, I'm sure. Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway. But happy birthday to us all. Okay, so I said I can still help. So now we're gonna choose to not answer the guide. And okay. The guide waits for a moment. When he realizes I have nothing to say, he looks off into the distance.
If you ever wish to speak to me on the matter, do so.
Sure. I still don't reply, lost in the quiet of my thoughts. I can't speak freely on the matter. I'm not even fully sure what the reason that drove my decision was. Perhaps it was a simple desire to continue living and not succumb to an untimely demise. Or maybe the guide's point of view has rung truer than I'm willing to admit. I don't know 90% of the stuff you do. I don't understand. I was to the last stream of this though. Well, I mainly do covers from musicals and anime. That's pretty much it. But for me, streaming is like my on the side thing. And I just do mainly visual novels and RPGs. So yeah, this one is a visual novel. Cat with the Guide's Gojo eyelashes. Do I take requests for covers? I kind of. Like, I hear you guys, like, suggestions if you have any, and I take them into consideration, and then oftentimes, eventually I make them. Maybe not as fast as you people would like, but I do take them into consideration, so if you have any ideas, please let me know. I am open. Bug. Is that from Project Sekai? I haven't heard it. Like, I don't know it. But I figured you would, like... you would want a song from Project Sekai. I would look into it. Let me just take a screenshot of that, because if not, I'm going to forget. There we go. Oh, it's by Katakiri Bear. Huh. Interesting. A deathcore. Labao. Anyway, let us continue. With that, he promptly walks down the newly risen bridge. I tethered back, unsure of myself. Okay, you follow him. I'm sorry to Bemelle and everyone who put their faith in me. We're on the island. Okay, history. Now our attitude towards Lou is different. Because we let ourselves fall back into the soft sand. We don't say a word. And then, eventually, I hear him swallow. His meek, breathy words just barely break through the waves of the lake. I'm sorry. He starts to ramble on. But instead of answering him, I just go, I don't say a word. If Lou continues to speak, he doesn't penetrate my whirling thoughts. I'm still here, even at the dawn of a new day. I'm still alive. And now, I will always be here. I morbidly recall that Bemelle and Margaret will also remain here for an eternity. I wonder what they think of me for what I've done. I'm unsure of what I'm doing, but I try to shake those thoughts away. All I can do is continue forward. That's all I, or anyone, can ever do. Bemelle is another character that you haven't met yet, Maple, because by last stream he was already dead. But he's basically our companion. He's also... I don't know if we're knights or just like guards. I think we're just guards. But giving like a super quick recap. At the beginning of the game, you are with Bemelle, and you two have the mission to like cross the lake and get to... Well, not necessarily cross the lake, but you... the mission is that you need to get to the island of Hermes, I think it's called. I'm probably just saying it very wrong. But you need to go to that island to help the people over there because they're having a situation. And so the quickest way to get there is by crossing the lake, which is why you need the guide. But turns out that when you two arrive, the guide had already also like giving the approval to Margaret to take her to the other side. And so there's a little bit of a discussion between the three of you about like who's gonna go with the guide, and in the end he tells you like all three of you can come, but one of you will die. And along the way, while the three of us are like going through the bridges, is when we find Lou, and we have the option to either help him or just leave him behind to yeet. This island is much larger than one used during the crossings. Normalcy, yep. Lou and the other Nixie bring me food and books and other items from the other side. Ooh, books! Interesting. I have learned that Lou and the guide are not the only Nixie. Yeah. And some do not have nocturnal. The island are constantly busy, like a small village. They died and I'm sad. I only pray they can find peace. Though I wasn't certain at first, I find myself gradually coming to accept this state of affairs. How many more lives will be lost if the humans and Nixie begin to fight openly? have to admit that the chance of every village agreeing to leave Sinlos alone indefinitely is unlikely. And if I had not been so reckless in traveling the lake in the first place, then none of this would have happened. That has made me consider how big a risk failure can truly be. The way it is now might be the closest thing to peace between humans and Nixie that's possible. Perhaps that is enough. So in this ending, I'm just letting it continue. Okay. I still intend to live my life to the fullest and protect others. However, it seems the way I must for humans and Nixie is to defend the secrets of this lake. That is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Nika voices. I'm going now because I have badminton practice. Good luck with that! That my kneecaps aren't mine anymore. Yes, you are now aware. But the fact that your kneecaps aren't yours anymore, they belong to me now. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so we have one last option here, which is I couldn't leave Blue. Which is not true, but my reply is firm. I shouldn't hide from it or the reasons why I made it in the first place. Oh yeah, and also happy early birthday, Clicker. The guide releases a short laugh. He doesn't feel belittling or sardonic, but instead sounds satisfied.
If that is what you want, then I'm certain you will have it. Lou will never part from your side.
Oh
He'll
no.
also be better because of it.
Sure, I'm glad that you're happy about this. As one smile finds its way to the guide's lips. Onto the guide's lips. With that, he promptly walks down the newly risen bridge. Yep, we go to the island and then there's Lou. Dripping dark water, Lou carefully takes a seat by my side. Or beside me. He scoots in slowly, watching my face intently for any sign of discomfort with him being so close. I look so dead inside though, like Kika's just done. And he's just like when I show none and his legs are near enough to brush against mine, he leans in and rests his head on my shoulder. He's still shaken from all that happened. I allow him this small comfort. For a time, neither of us say a word. We just listen to the whisper of black, heavy water lapping at the edge of the sand, and each other's breathing. We can't get away, right? Like I'm like, no, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Please. Eventually, I feel as much as I hear him swallow. His jaw moves like a soft drum against my collarbone. And his meek, breathy words just barely break through the waves of the lake. I wouldn't be able to hear him if his skin wasn't pressed against mine.
Sorry you have to be here. I never thought...
Sure thing, Maple. Thank you. He starts to ramble on. And now she smiles. I bring myself to smile gently at him. I can't blame Blue for what happened. I can. If his plan had been to hurt us, he could have taken the opportunities presented to him. Blue has no wicked intentions lurking inside. Surely, he was forced to make painful decisions by a cruel world.
I understand. You do not have to take responsibility for all this yourself. If you hadn't come tonight, I may very well have lost my life.
No, I wasn't doing Lou's voice. Can I do Lou's voice? Like, I can kind of do Kika's. I can't get like low enough to reach her same tone, but I kind of do like the monotone, voice-ish. But Lou's...
Thank you.
Thank you. Lou's is a little bit harder because his is not, it doesn't, it's more normal, I guess. It doesn't have like a very characteristic feel for me. I'll try. His soft, remorseful voice trails off, and he presses his head further into my neck, intimately. Ew! He curls his uninjured hand around mine.
And you're still right. It isn't truly over. We have time, and we'll find a way to make something of what we have left. I believe that. I only can because you did first.
Yeah. He smiles hesitantly. yet the tenderness in his face is unmistakable.
Thank you.
This time he speaks with gratitude rather than regret.
Do you remember when I said the reason I came was because I didn't want to die alone? That was just at first.
And
After
then,
a while, I only kept staying because I thought something might happen to you. All I hoped for at the end of this night was that you'd live.
but you would let Margaret die. He squeezes my hand a little tighter.
But you stopped the inevitable again, and I'm still here. We both are. I'm not sure if it's possible to make up for this.
Oh my god.
Especially for someone like me. But I want to try.
But you stopped the inevitable again. I'm like trying, but I can't quite pinpoint how I should like. But I'm still here. Yeah, no. It has like a very particularly like tone that I can't quite place right now. I would need to analyze it properly to like try to get it. I feel a bright sense of purpose radiate off of him. I cannot allow myself to give up. Someone out there is still counting on me, and I can't rely on loose strength as well. It's true that there is no way to save everyone. However, the both of us are able to continue on, and that is not meaningless. Is it not? Yep, food and books, speak my language, nocturnal lifestyle. I remember Bemelle and Margaret. I only pray they can find peace. Only a few days after their ordeal, Luke completely recovered from his injuries. Even his severed finger and foot were fully reformed. Ugh! It was shocking to me, but that is not much of a feat for him. As soon as he recovered, Lou insisted on building a shelter for me on the island. He was concerned about me having to sleep outdoors. Honestly, I hardly thought about it. The whole situation is far too strange and unbelievable. The notion that I may never leave this place is frightening, and has not truly sunk in. I'm grateful to at least have Lou to comfort me, even though he continues to act as though it is I who is supporting him. Hello, welcome. I can't read your name. KQ Therin. I'm guessing it's Catherine. Welcome. Ooh, a good Bakugo impression. Ooh, I've actually been meaning to try and like do impressions more, but I haven't had the time, so maybe I should actually like look more into that. Cause I like voice acting, but I don't know. Anyway, he has refused to take on the role of a prowler ever again. Instead, Lou spends nights staying near me. We share a mutual frustration at knowing there are people on the lake who are unaware of what is really going on. The both of us are in agreement that something can still be done, that something must be done. And as Lou likes to remind me, it isn't over. Not for either of us. Even in this painful situation, I can take some peace in knowing I am not alone. There we go. This is also a goodish ending, but I don't like that it's with him. Holy sh... Sorry about that. I drank water and accidentally swallowed a bit of ice. That was a little bit big. Oh my god. I can still feel it in my throat. Hold on. I'm trying to like swallow it because I feel it stuck in my throat. Alright, I think that's good. Anyway. Alright, so let me just check real quick which other ending are we missing from this route. Which is one only. Alright. I think. Okay, so we got... Sorry, let me just check off this. We got... change, and together, and sacrifice. So now we need sorry and distance, which are in the same ending. Which... needs me to save, to go to my first save, which is this one. Oh, it's when we're in the middle of the island. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I still feel it. I think it's gone, kind of. I hope. Anyway, if I suddenly choke and die, then we know why. So, quick recap again. This is Lake of Voices, a horror-ish kind of visual novel where we play as the main character whose name is Kika. Everything is voice acted, and we, alongside our dear friend and companion Bemelle, need to travel to another island to help the village, which the name I forgot right now, but to help a village with the situation they have. And so the quickest way to go there is to cross a lake called Sinlos, but in said lake there are these things called the Nixie, and so they basically crawl out of the water and drag you into it and kill you and eat you. And so the reason why the lake can only be crossed at night is because the bridge that helps you cross it sinks during the day. And so in order to like make the way across safely, you need a guide, and the guide is the one who determines who goes and who doesn't. And so along the way we meet Margaret, who also is trying to cross the lake. And then in the middle of the road we meet Lou as well, which we have the option to either save or just leave to die. And after that, like, we at the middle point of the game we reach a small island where we take rest during the day in order to continue again during the night and reach our destination. And along the way anyone can die. And so it is my hope that I can find an ending where I can save everyone, because so far everything has been miserable. So that is a very quick recap of everything that's going on. And right now I'm trying to get like all the endings. So we're in Lou's route, and we are only missing an ending as far as I'm aware. Oh yeah, and the guide apparently has Gojo eyelashes. I haven't seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so I can't tell you. But instead of going with Lou, we go to see Margaret. Lou continues walking away from me, but I do catch him flinch at the statement. I assume that he heard me, though he decided it was best not to acknowledge it. I look away from him as he retreats. And so at this point where I'm making this decision that is apparently going to take me to our final ending in Lou's route. Yay, Margaret! We're in the middle point in that island where we rest during the day. So yeah. Lingering for only a moment, I start following the trail Margaret took. There she is. I catch up with Margaret, and I notice that her eyes are glistening with tears. As I try to move closer, she turns on me sharply.
What do you want?
Don't be harsh with me, I'm trying to look out for you. I take a step back and keep my voice low.
I was worried.
Hold on, let me open the door for my doggo that wants to be let outside real quick. There we go. I am back. Anyway, I was worried.
Well, there certainly is a lot to be worried about.
Okay, this conversation is different. I like it. Aketenshi does not appreciate my concern, but that's only to be expected. I've seen people react to grief and death in dozens of different ways, and she has every reason to be upset, sitting on an island surrounded by a lake that breathes death. So it makes sense that she's like this because Bemelle died before us arriving here. So I will not judge her just because of that, because Bemelle was great.
To make sure you survive through the next night. So
that's not the problem.
Her words begin strong, but falter and soften as she speaks. I can only watch her, without the slightest idea of what to do. Margaret sits atop a large mass of roots and covers her face with her hands. I step over to her and kneel down so that I can be at eye level again. Well, she has a British accent, but I don't know if she's supposed to actually be British. She twists her body away from me.
Leave me alone.
No, I will not leave you.
Yes, Kika. Margaret huffs, looking my way again, only to properly glare.
Do you even know why I came out here? It wasn't as though I had anywhere important to be.
Then why?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I've
Why
been
would you
wanting
risk
to
this
know
journey?
this entire time.
Surely you already know the heart of my distress. Haven't you ever considered what you would do if you weren't able to be a guard?
She makes a point too good to dismiss, and I inwardly flinch when I consider it.
Yes. I originally sought this path not because I wished to protect others, but because I was concerned for my own self.
Why though?
I don't blame you. If I had your coordination and ability, I would have learned to fight as well. As it stands, I cannot change what I am.
We love Judy. I believe there is actually a route for her, so maybe. This is not it though. This is not the one.
The settlement I come from is small, barely staving off collapse, really. The same as your town. You don't have to tell me which it is. They are all that way. My only real skill is the knowledge I've worked so hard to obtain. But, of course, a tiny village full of starving hunter-gatherers doesn't have much use for someone well-versed in history or management theories.
Okay.
Even if there are positions that require such knowledge, they are always given to those who are far older than myself. So what am I supposed to do?
The old man.
Continue to barely survive by being one of many seamstresses? Keep being pushed around by any person more powerful or with higher social connections? Leaving there would only take me back to the same position. It won't ever change that way.
So doesn't really matter where you go then? My heart aches as I kneel beside her, watching her shuddering form. I feel helpless, but what can I do? These problems are much different from what I have dealt with. Stop acting like it. Eventually, Margaret seems to pull herself together.
No, I was tired of accepting those options. Sinlos was my only chance. Only now do I realize how ridiculous a notion that is. Anyone who comes to this lake with a sense of hope will surely have it crushed.
I mean, true. Don't worry, Maple. Thanks for stopping by.
Are you saying you wanted to become a guide?
Yes. Laugh at my ambition if you wish.
Huh.
People may fear the current guide and may even blame him for the people he cannot save. But at least he has respect. Not only that, the heads of the area give him enough support to live a comfortable life.
Huh.
From all I'd gathered about the
Now
lake,
with the knowledge I have, I'm
being
like,
strong or
well...
good with a weapon didn't matter a lick. The most important qualities for a guide were being observant and shrewd, and being able to look past the struggles of someone else. But how wrong I was.
Her voice rises.
I haven't the slightest ability to deal with sinking bridges and confrontations with those horrible monsters. And even though I thought I'd lost all ability to care about the troubles of others, I still feel awful about what happened earlier.
Interesting.
I haven't a chance of making it as a guide.
Not like they would let you,
which
though.
means I have no hope anywhere.
Interesting. She covers her face once more and resumes her cries. Hesitantly, I reach out and place my hand on her shoulder. Surprisingly, she doesn't shake it off. We sit quietly like that for several moments.
You don't have to be a guide. Once this is over, you never have to come back here.
Yeah, maybe
There
somewhere
has to
else.
be something else out there for you. And if something does not yet exist, then we can create it ourselves.
Margaret chortles a bit.
What a silly idea. But if I did have to choose between returning to the normal world or staying here, I'd rather go back home.
I squeeze her shoulder and she at last looks up at me. The tears gone from her eyes.
Thank you for sharing this with me.
Thank you for listening. You have an unexpectedly soft heart.
Cute. She must have noticed a slight twinge in my face.
That isn't a bad thing, Kika.
I look away, eyes towards the ground.
I know it can hurt to care, but it also lets you lessen the pain of others. I think it would be much better if everyone cared a little bit more,
Right?
rather than less.
I feel tears forming in my eyes now as I smile back at Margaret.
Thank you.
Margaret returns my look. I take a seat on the roads beside her, and for a time we sit in silence, simply being there for one another. Eventually I turn towards
Perhaps
her.
we should go check how everything is on the island.
Margaret nods.
That seems like a fair thing to do. We can't keep sitting here forever, unfortunately.
True.
I'll come with you.
Are you sure you'll be alright without your glasses? There are a lot of places to catch your foot or dress on.
Yup. Surprisingly, she works better when she doesn't have them. Margaret laughs lightly.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
I offer her my arm, or that's good. Huh. I offer her my arm. Oh, that made it. Okay, that made a change. She sighs softly and chides me teasingly.
Really, you are too much.
And she's blushing. There we go. She then accepts. Together, we head towards the interior of the island. I don't know why I think I know, but at the same time, I don't know why I'm so giddy, but this is way better than Lou. Margaret and I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path, but we managed to pick our way through the bush quite well. Through a thinner stand of trees, we briefly catch sight of the guy standing on one of the beaches. He seems fine, but even though I'm sure he turned his head toward me, he makes no show of acknowledging us. We scour the area for Lou. It doesn't take us long to find him. He appears to be alright, though still strange. I calmly greet him as we approach.
Hello. Is everything alright here?
He turns towards us and blinks, like he's waking from sleep. It seems as though he didn't even notice us until now. He looks away once more and smiles bitterly to himself.
Everything's pretty much how I expected. Make of that what you will.
I frown at his response, but I try not to let it bother me too much. It seems to simply be Lou's way.
At least it isn't worse than you expected.
Lou doesn't respond to Margaret. I decided changing the subject may be for the best.
Are you ready to eat, Lou?
Lou pauses for a moment to consider
Okay.
this.
If you leave something for me, I'll eat it soon.
Why do we have to leave?
I eye Lou suspiciously. He chuckles.
I don't need you two to stand and watch me. I'd feel more comfortable eating alone.
I have to agree with Kika. You refused to eat before, and now you claim you'll only eat if no one else is around to see it happen?
If that's the case, I'll just say I won't eat again. Then there will be nothing to be suspicious over.
It's suspicious that you don't want to eat, my friend. Both of us sigh, exasperated over his dismissive attitude. Lou snickers to himself. I take no relief in the fact that someone is finding this amusing.
Either way, we shouldn't leave anyone alone anymore. We've all had enough time to ourselves to think. Now we should focus on staying safe and being prepared for the coming night.
Lou bites his lip, hunching his shoulders up to his neck as he eyes Margaret sourly. It might be an intimidating look if it was from someone else. As it is, Lou looks like a thoroughly annoyed child.
I'm not interested. There's something I'm still not finished with.
We could come with you.
Lou tries to duck further into his own body. He is clearly wishing he could stop being the center of attention. Margaret huffs, losing even more of her already thin patience over Lou's lack of maturity on this matter.
Will you come back to find us once you're finished with your mystery task?
You can find me later, if you like. You don't need to be so worried.
Margaret and I exchanged glances with one another. She seems almost guilty now. Perhaps she reevaluated the situation and feels this might be unnecessarily demanding. Margaret is looking to me for an answer. Save. I guess I can save here. I don't need it anymore, right? Load. Yes. We will come back soon.
We did sort of spring this on you. You can have some time to finish up what you're doing, though we'll need to regroup not too long from now.
True. He offers a meek smile, eyes glued to the ground.
Okay.
I nod, then wave Margaret over. She quickly acquiesces. I know what this word means, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Acquiesces. And we say goodbye to Lou.
Don't forget to eat something.
I hand him a hide and snooze stitch pouch of dried salted meat and some sweet roots. He elects not to reply as he takes the pouch. Margaret and I walk off to one of the clearings in the forest. I feel more at ease already, simply being further away from that water. The two of us settle down in between the exposed roots of the dense trees.
So...
The piano music again! Margaret gently leans her head against one of the trunks and seems to contemplate what to say. I silently wait for further comment from Margaret. I'm not terribly skilled at making conversation, so I trust her to take the lead. The longer the quiet stretches on, the heavier her eyelids look. Soon they close completely and she tries to mumble something. I smile to myself. Last night was arduous. I'm pleased that Margaret feels safe enough to fall asleep. I contentedly keep watch, allowing her to nap. Eventually, Margaret begins to stir. Her eyes flutter open and she blankly stares at me. Realizing what happened, I give her a small wink.
Hello.
Margaret blinks a few times and begins to look sheepish.
Hello. I hope I haven't missed anything.
I softly shake my head.
No. All is well.
Well, that's a relief.
Before continuing, Margaret stops to untangle her charmingly curled hair from the bark of her resting spot. She keeps yawning.
It's been quite a long time since I've dozed off in the middle of the day. Usually I'm far too busy for something like that.
I am
Same
the same.
girl. Margaret chuckles slightly to herself, though she's quick to share the reason with me.
I used to be scolded as a child for sleeping during the day.
Somehow it is not difficult to imagine
Were
that.
you different as a child than you are now?
Not quite. I had much the same disposition, but I was quite the night owl. I'd stay up late into the evening and drift off during the day because of that.
Me too.
Thankfully, I've gotten in the habit of more acceptable bedtimes.
I haven't. I hope I can one day. I nod attentively at her answer. She raises a single teasing eyebrow and smiles at my eagerness.
I'm not sure what you find so fascinating.
I feel my face flush and have to break eye contact before I can speak further.
I think what you have to say is interesting. You're interesting, Margaret.
Margaret begins to blush as well. She stares at him awkwardly.
If you're sure.
Oh my gosh, I love her so much. She's so cute. We share a mutually nervous moment of silence. Margaret tentatively speaks up, trying to break the tension.
There was a pond in the woods behind my house. A tortoise lived there and I used to visit it all the time. I've heard that they live for a very long time.
Yep.
So I used to make up stories in my mind about what he may have seen in his many days.
Cute. Margaret tugs at her hair and glances away from me. I smile warmly at her recollection.
I'm not sure why that memory was the first thing to come up when trying to find something to say.
I chortle softly and Margaret jovially pretends to be aghast with me.
You don't have to laugh at me.
I continue to grin at her.
I'm sorry, it was a lovely story.
It is really cute. Margaret stirs in surprise, then it fades into a kind smile.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Avoid eye contact. I'm an introvert. I can't do eye contact. But for the sake of the love story, I guess, we gaze back. Why do I feel like this is gonna have like such a tragic ending because we're on Lou's route? I catch Margaret's eyes, and we spend a moment sharing a gentle connection. The two of us continue to trade memories with one another as we pass the time.
It's been quite some time. We ought to go back for Lou.
You're right.
I rise from the ground. Margaret follows suit. She brushes flecks of dirt off her skirt and begins to speak.
I hope he won't try to shoo us away again. We have to take this seriously.
True. The two of us make our way over to where we left Lou as hastily as the thick forest will allow. Unfortunately, there's nothing to see but shrubbery upon our arrival. We must have gone somewhere else. And this is not the only disappointment. The pouch I gave him rests squarely in the dirt, still puffed up with what is presumably all the food inside.
What does he think he's accomplishing by doing this?
Margaret mutters in annoyance while shaking her head. I scan the area for any signs of Lou while Margaret bends down to retrieve the pouch. She squints her eyes and holds the object close to her face to examine the contents.
It seems like the food is still clean at least.
She stands in her frustration, gives way to fear as the mystery of what could have happened settles in her mind.
Say Lou isn't being difficult. What if something is wrong? Should we have left him alone?
I don't know. She looked towards me, and her voice grows more frantic with each word.
That's not what happened, right? I'm overreacting, aren't I?
Calm down, girl, calm down. Huh? I can't say anything. In the distance, I can see it. Among white fog and black water, a flicker of color drifts. A green scarf. Margaret shouts beside me. She wouldn't. She must have noticed as well. Margaret grasps my arm numbingly
Lou can't be out there. He must have dropped his scarf with the food and it blew away.
Tight. I place my hand in hers and grip it firmly.
We need to search the forest. We can't go anywhere near the shore.
Margaret nods adamantly, fingers trembling.
Lou? Where are you?
He's gone. I look through the forest and tuck Margaret to lead her. We make our way to the tree line. There's rustling. The leaves part and all hope within me dies. Is the guide. My hands go numb, a ringing through my body channeling into them. My arms fall limply to my sides.
Have you seen Lou?
So, you noticed.
He's missing.
No. You know exactly where he is. He's
God.
gone.
Margaret covers her mouth with her hands. Her voice dies to a whisper. I'm utterly speechless. We just saw Lou. He was fine.
How?
The word is not a question, but a concise demand. Margaret feels we are owed an answer, and the guide will provide it.
In some areas there aren't sandy shores. Instead, the thick forested areas lead right into the waterline. Also, since the water is so dense, oftentimes debris settles on top. It can cover what's beneath completely, making it look as though it's still part of the shore when it actually isn't.
Interesting.
Those are only a few ways someone could get too close for safety.
And why couldn't you have mentioned any of those little details?
He doesn't reply.
Well?
Margaret continues digging deeper and deeper, pushing for a reason for this. Knowing why won't make it better, but I feel that she hopes it will.
If you were aware of all that and kept it to yourself, then that means all of this is your fault. You might as well have pushed Lou into the lake with your own two hands.
The guide looks absolutely furious over her accusation.
And just how do you know it was an accident? No one heard any signs of struggle.
Lou wouldn't have killed himself.
The guide glares at the both of us and mutely snarls.
You didn't know that man. You should have never gotten involved with him. He wasn't your responsibility.
But it is yours. He finishes his sentence full of malice. I snap out of my stupor, feeling the tension growing between the two.
This isn't helping anything!
The guide closes his eyes for a few seconds and sighs in frustration.
We'll never know for sure what the truth is. It isn't something we should allow to distract us until we have made it to the other side.
Margaret stitches her mouth shut and glares at the guide crossly. Oh, achievement. Sorry. He stares back for a moment before turning his back to us and disappearing into the forest. Once he's gone, Margaret drops her face into her hands again. I stand stone still. How could we have let this happen? He was right there with us. We were with him during the day on the island only an hour ago or so. How? Margaret turns her gaze, now hardened and running with grief, towards me.
If that's how that guide is going to be, then maybe I should still become one.
What?
What? I startle at the recklessness of her words.
I understand that you can't always save everyone, and that difficult decisions must be made. But this isn't right. He could have done so much more, yet he didn't bother for no reason.
Yeah. What you're saying is very right. But now that I have the cursed knowledge, I kind of want to explain it to you, but I can't because I am not in control of what my character says. I gaze at her sorrowfully. I don't want to see someone I care so much about spend their life on this lake. But I know that it is not my place to tell her otherwise.
I'm going back to the forest. You should come with me.
Yes.
Sure. That, at least, is a decision I can agree with wholeheartedly. I feel that there aren't many of those left, and it's only getting worse the further and further we get from the lake's other shore. I look back towards the scarf once more. I realize that it's gone. Tears well up in my eyes. I silently continue my walk towards the meeting point. Our thoughts not anymore at ease. We arrive where we are meant to meet the guide. Okay. Margaret gazes at him coolly but doesn't say anything to him. I'm not sure what to say either.
It's almost time.
Speaks. Oh, sorry. Nothing else is said. All three of us wait in deep, miserable silence until night falls. Okay, all of that, and then we just continue. We don't have the whole incident with the Prowler. I'm gonna save here, and history, what did he say? I wonder how many people have needlessly died because he was the only person around to show them the way. And then I guess this is the save that I made. Oh, it's the same answer actually. Fewer than those who would have died without him.
I cannot say with certainty that the guide has always made wise decisions. However, there isn't enough evidence for us to state that he takes his position lightly, or that one would be better off without him.
She pauses for a moment, entertaining the viewpoint.
Perhaps. I still think that things could be far better.
True. Finishing that thought, she resumes her normal pace again. Our progress continues steadily, and we still encounter no significant difficulties. Margaret has drifted further away from me and closer to the guide. He turns his head slightly to address her.
You're following too closely.
Oh yeah, I remember this discussion. And then one of the... Yep, the bridge broke. And now I have to find a way for myself. I detest the idea of having to part ways with Margaret, however I know that there's no other way. I smile forlornly at her as the wind whips against my back. I speak softly.
You need to go.
There is no way she could have hurt me, yet I'm confident that sentiment got across. I spin on my heels and run back the way I came, searching for the bridge the guide said to take. I can only hope that we all safely reunite before this night ends. I spare a brief glance behind me. However, there's not a trace of them or even the dead end I was stranded at. With a painful contracting of my heart, I realize that I am truly alone now. And then, yeah, I'm by myself. I think I can, turn back. Because there's a Prowler there. And I think last time I went past it, and then I died. Deciding against risking any sort of encounter with the thing, I carefully back away. Quietly turn on my heel and retrace my steps. After a short time, I come across a decent enough seeming bridge. With no better option, I take it. Soon, the sounds of the prowler fade, then completely vanish into the night. I breathe a sigh of grateful relief and hope that I don't encounter any more of them going forward. As I walk along longer in this purgatory, the worries that had been plaguing my heart become muted. Instead, a new fear grips me. The truth that I am becoming comfortable with the notion that there isn't an end to this. I must stop myself from quietly accepting such a fate. I grip the handle of my lantern tightly and grit my teeth. Various thoughts come in and out of the front of my mind as I fight to remain focused on the path ahead. Memories of my birth home, my wolf dogs, Adalia and Adelina. The others who may still be somewhere out on these bridges. That moment when we were separated. The looks on their faces the last time I saw them. While going over it, I asked myself if I should have tried to go back to the island and waited for the guide to return there on another journey. My supplies would have been tight, however, I'm sure I would have been able to stretch them. Why didn't I think of that at the time? Could have recalled the way we went so far and made it back to solid ground. I shake my head. I shouldn't scold myself over things which cannot be changed. It is possible the guide won't be returning to the island for many days. And there are many other choices I could have made that would have kept me from being in this position. All I can do is remain steadfast. That is my title after all. Kika the Steadfast? Suddenly I realize through the fog the black sky is turning dark blue. Dawn is beginning to arise. At this point there's no use in keeping up my strength. I sprint down the bridge, going faster as I hold out for some sort of sign. Anything. Hold out hope, I'm assuming. Eventually I receive one. Silhouette of land clicks into my field of vision. I can scarcely believe it is a blink. I can't believe it is as I blink away the tears. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm just getting like a little sleepy for some reason. And I suddenly couldn't properly read that. With renewed spirit, I press on the bridge with increased speed, desperately trying to outpace the sun. The glowing orb peeks into view as the obscured sky against the obscured sky and begins to ascend unfeelingly. With each step, the sky brightens ever so slightly more. I race through the oppressive fog and... It's a dead end. No. Out of reach. No. Begrudgingly, my body heavy and lifeless as marble, I stand and turn around the way I came. Deep inside, I know that there is no hope of getting onto the correct bridge and reaching the shore before it's too late, but I don't care. I'm going to keep going. After too many drinks, some fellow guards talk about wanting to die fighting. I never thought about it before because I didn't want to, but now I know what I want to be doing when I die. I want to be going forward. Running against all hope that I will ever be safe again. Running in defiance, returning to find my way back to those who need me. So I do. I sprint as the sky becomes red and dark and the darkness recedes. I cry unreservedly for the first time. At least in this moment I do not have to fear that the weakness inside me will undo all my efforts. It is rarely too late. My legs pound against the boards almost as forcefully as my heart beats. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am when the bridges creak and clank together. My tears come faster, but I keep running across the treacherous bridges, even as thin lines of water start to trickle across the sinking boards. Suddenly, I can't run anymore. As if to mock me, the bridge ahead falls away, leaving me at another dead end. I halt. My face is wet as my drenched feet. I stare into the sun, my eyes going blurry and star-crossed from the burning light. I hope the others are not here. I wish they found the other side. That they are able to have happy, loving lives. The bridges sink rapidly now, joining jolting me into the cold black lake. I try to tread water, but my armor weighs me down and in this dense fluid. Inevitably, my strength is quickly sapped away. I don't think so much as plummet down into the lake. The desperate fighting burning in my lungs takes a few minutes to subside. Then I slip into unfeeling nothingness. It almost could have been distance. Lake of voices. Alright, so those are all of Lou's routes. That one didn't have much to do with him, but it still ended very sadly. So I'm gonna take a very quick break just for a second, and I'm gonna be right back. Whoop. There we go. I went to get some more water and also for a blanket because I'm kind of cold right now. So now we enter into Margaret's route. I think out of the endings we're missing 1, 2, 3. We're still missing 6, which is a lot. So I don't know if we'll be able to get through all of them today. But at least I think Bemelle's and Margaret's should be doable. Because since we've already done like most of their respective dialogues the first times we played, I should be able to skip most of it, I think. So those are the other two. And the other 6 we're missing are more of like, I think they're also just continuations of, I think only 3 of them are things that we like haven't properly explored yet, so we'll see. But let us go through Margaret's route first then, and we're gonna leave Bemelle for last when it comes to characters, and then we'll see. And we also have bonus content, which I don't know if I want to do this stream or just keep it to myself. By the way, how many sieges are we missing? We have all of these now. 2 of Margaret's, another 4, so we're missing 6. Alright, so let us start a new game. We're gonna skip through most of it, like the intro. This is Bemelle for people who didn't meet him the first time. Man, this is Margaret when she had her glasses on. In this case, I think we should favor her as much as possible, so you're quite informed, Margaret.
It's been years since the time of Garvin the Exemplar. It's impressive you knew.
Yeah. She's happy that we're praising her knowledge, as now we know it is something she fought very hard for. I believe we should go because otherwise there's no story. And then what is the next step? Oh, the prowler that's following Bemelle. In this case, I'm not sure. The guide says to choose this, but shouldn't it be not seriously since we're not trying to impress him? Who knows? Anyway. Pull Bemelle forward. Yep, we can't let him die this time. Kick it off. And I can't die either, so. Oop. Oh no, I think I accidentally clicked something else outside of the game. Ooh, I hope it doesn't affect the flow. I've never actually chosen the other thing, so I'm gonna save it here just because I want to see later on. Like, oh, a program open, close. Anyways, I want to see what happens there, but I'm gonna put it here. Yes. Load. And this one. Yes, because the timer must have already run out at this point. The current format has worked so far. I'm staying at the end of everything. I think I need to let the timer. Yep. Encourage her to keep going. So did we all cross? I think so. There's Bemelle on Margaret. Okay, and there's Lou. Do nothing. I think we do need to let Lou die in this one. Concern and location. I keep thinking I should have done more. Should have pushed the guy harder to change his mind so it was less dangerous to keep the man around. Something. Anything. But I have to let this go. I'm not going to forget that man. I'll never forget him. But we still need to get through this. Trust me, it's better that he's not with us. We push forward. The guide stops. There are more prowlers there. We set the bridge on fire. She loses her glasses. And we make it to this small island. So now we're gonna have like our little moment with her again. Instead of going with Bemelle. Margaret, wait. My voice was too soft for her to hear me. Lingering for only a moment, I start following the trail Margaret took. And then I guess we have this entire conversation about her past and what she wants to do. Yep. How did I never get this one in the past? I'm pretty sure I probably chose that option. Huh. I offer her my arm. We move on and eventually find Bemelle in a jagged clearing, leaning against a tree. He's already noticed us and is looking our way, smiling. As we approach, I pick up on the sadness behind his jovial expression.
How are you faring? Any problems?
Everything is fine. We came to check on you.
How kind. I've
Calmed down
since then.
I'm glad to hear that. Is there any way I can help or anything you'd like to say?
He raises an eyebrow at Dad, still grinning.
I didn't expect to see you so worried about me, Kika.
You ought to not question it, you know. Simply be thankful for all her thoughtfulness.
He nods and chuckles heartily.
Right.
Both like agreeing on the simping. Nice. Feel a warmth that turns my lips into a shy smile. Margaret nods approvingly. Bemelle glances between Margaret and I, smiling coyly over the exchange. His amusement doesn't last, however. Instead, he throws his arms out wide and with a sour expression.
Have you seen the guide?
Yeah.
I saw him earlier. He is the same as always.
I am glad he approves of whatever
Good.
we have going on, Margaret
In that case,
and I.
I'm going to stretch my legs for a bit. I feel stiff from standing in one place for so long.
Wait, I can't help but wonder if it's the best idea to keep splitting up and wandering off. We've all had time to ourselves to think. I believe we should stay together now.
She has a point. We can't be sure how safe this island truly is.
Well, I've had my fair share of being difficult lately.
Yep.
I can accept that if you feel so strongly about it.
Yep.
I'd still
Please.
like to take a walk, if you two don't mind joining me.
Sure. We don't have much time to contemplate the offer before he chimes in once
I
more.
could also go for a nap.
I smile softly at his attempt to be accommodating to us, despite our sudden intention. I wouldn't mind walking. Bemelle grins and glances over at Margaret.
What do you think?
I am the one who wanted us to stick together. I'm not going to put a wedge in the plan. I'll come along.
Alright.
Glad to hear it.
And I think this conversation we've had before. Yay, they're getting along. Nice.
So he tries to force his way into that old barn.
Also,
by
he's
kicking the
telling
door
her
open.
stories
His
about
foot
like
ends up
the
going
guards
right
and all
on
of that.
through the wood and gets stuck.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, I didn't want to open the history. Keep going. Margaret and I exchange a look, sharing an unspoken amusement.
This fellow guard you've been speaking of wouldn't happen to be a stand-in for yourself, would he?
He certainly wouldn't. Must you always doubt my word?
I also like the way Bemelle speaks. So proper. Bemelle playfully feigns distress while Margaret laughs.
Yes, Kika's far too polite, so someone has to keep you from getting too big-headed.
Fine, fair enough. But what if I told you the fellow guard in my story was actually Kika?
Then I'd have to tease her for committing a blunder that seems like one you would make, of course.
Oh my gosh.
You're a harsh one, Margaret. I'm not safe from your verbal lashings no matter what I say.
You make it much too easy for me.
Margaret's grinning, full of mirth. She looks towards
Kika,
me.
you aren't upset by that, are you?
No. Her face grows with concern. She's probably questioning if she's taking it too far by targeting me. I smile warmly and shake my head.
I'm glad to be included.
Margaret immediately smiles. Cute. Looks relieved, returning to her jokingly snobbish expression. This familiar exchange with her has made me brave. I take a deep breath.
And in all fairness, I'd also have to give myself a difficult time if I made a mistake befitting Bemelle.
Oh my god. I glance between Bemelle and Margaret nervously, trying to gauge their reactions to my attempt at adding to the conversation. After a moment, they both start to smirk. Then Bemelle lets out a hearty laugh.
I can't believe I've been betrayed this way.
Oh my
After
gosh.
all we've been through.
I love them both so much. I am so sad that so far the only good things that have come of endings have them both dead. Margaret smoothly applauds my efforts. I smile timidly at their reaction.
You've come so far, Kika.
Oh my goodness. Margaret gazes at me fondly. Gaze back. I catch Margaret's eyes, and we spend a moment sharing a gentle connection. For a brief moment, I'm sorry that you're third wheeling, Bemelle. I promise you'll have your time. For now, it's just Margaret and I. I'm so sorry. For a brief moment, all of the troublesome circumstances seem to float away from our minds, and we enjoy each other's company. I wish it'd go on for so much longer, but it's only a while later that I have to speak up.
We really should rest before nightfall.
Yep.
I'm fine with that idea.
All right.
I love them both. Can we be a throuple? That would be nice. Bemelle leads us over to the area where the guide mentioned we were going to meet. Margaret and I sit together. She lightly rests her head against my shoulder. The three of us quietly wait for the guy's arrival, occasionally chatting with one another as we rest. And now he's here. As the color seems to drain from the world, being consumed by the fog, the guide makes his appearance.
It's almost time.
I nod and feel myself grow tense. We truly are about to return to those bridges. All of us wait in an uncomfortable silence until night falls. Okay, and the rest is the same thing we have done before, where the bridges haven't risen yet. They get attacked. We lose a lantern. If only they knew. Throw the lantern. I nod firmly to myself. Yeah, because the other one would just lead us to doom. We throw the lantern, save the guide. Now, Margaret makes a torch. And then... Wait. Oh no, I have to let him die. Oh, so he survives. This is the only instance on this bridge that he has survived. Oh my goodness. Just like Lou that one time. Huh.
Part of the board broke. Everyone is fine, however.
You should have played that
avoid
section. Yeah.
completely.
All right.
We're still in much danger as we stand here. I encourage him to begin moving once more. I'll make sure to skip over this broken board myself when I come to it. As I pass by the hole, I catch a bit of movement in the water, but when I look closely, there's nothing there. After a few more agonizing minutes, everyone reaches the other side of the trap. Ooh, so we managed to make it without like any... Oh, nice. And now... Oh, I won't go, let someone else stay. Yep. So, because my lantern broke, he decides that only one of us can survive and is trying to take me. Having lost his patience, the guide points a finger at Margaret, almost accusingly.
I've noticed the attention you've given
Of
her.
course.
Is that what this is about? Do you want to sacrifice your position to give her a hope of safety?
Yes.
Or perhaps you would prefer the both of you being left so you remain together? Or does your relationship not matter after all, and you don't care who gets the chance as long as you avoid a sense of guilt?
You're completely mad! Kika's reaction is what any
I love
normal
Memelle's
human
reaction.
being would have. You can't pretend she is to blame.
I am aware. No one should have to take on such a grim task. That was why I did not ask it of you. I did it myself. However, that wasn't agreeable, so now the choice is hers, and it is time to decide.
And it is time to decide. I look over at Margaret and Bemelle, hot tears flowing from my eyes. Take Bemelle, yeah. Cause if we take if I tell him to take Margaret, Bemelle won't survive. So I'm assuming this is just like a redo of that one time we did this route, but without getting closer to Margaret, more like getting closer to Bemelle. And now we fought the Nixie. Margaret and I walk together side by side. So the only thing that's changing is that because we have like a closer relationship, the difference is gonna be different. The ending is gonna be kind of different from that other time. We stay ever vigilant for any sounds of danger from the lake. She sighs softly beside me with a shake of her head.
Oh, if only I had thought of that paper trick sooner. The guide might have let us stay.
Probably not. But we've had this conversation before. Okay, so I just want to see what did she tell me earlier. You're far too kind, Margaret. No matter the situation, I still made a decision, and it wasn't to ensure your safety.
When the guide said that only you could go, a part of me was thankful. You would be fine with him.
But I admit, another part of me disliked being the one left behind. Not by the guide, but by you. It's silly, I know.
Jealous.
Still, in a way, it's comforting that at least we're still with one another, even counting the circumstances that led to this.
We stand a better chance together, don't
Besides,
worry.
With no lantern, no glasses, and an indifferent guide, I severely doubt that I'd be faring much better under
True.
his care.
True. Margaret grows wistful and speaks
What
softly.
I'm trying to say is that I never would have been able to make the kind of decision that you had to, and I think it made sense for everyone.
Okay. I feel tears well up in my eyes from gratitude to Margaret for all her kindness. She chuckles lightly.
If that isn't a sign that I'm not meant to be a guide myself, then I don't know what is.
Yes, be a guide. I don't think it is possible, not because you're not capable, but because I don't think the other guy would let it fly, but you go, girl. You go. I dry my tears with my sleeve, with a small smile.
You've
Sniffle.
truly decided against that?
Yes, absolutely. I never want to see any lake again for as long as I live.
Yeah.
Since I don't have any plans, I'll have to find a nearby village on the other side to stay out for a time. I'll decide what the next step on my path will be then.
As long as you don't get close to the prowlers, that's good for me. Knowing Margaret won't be stepping on these bridges again after this night eases my heart greatly. Oh yeah, because the reason why she takes the decision to be a guide again is because of Lou's death, and because Lou's not here. Okay. The future is starting to look bright somehow. I look at her
I would
shyly.
still like to help you, if that's possible.
A small, bashful smile creeps onto Margaret's face.
Well, I suppose I could see what your town is like after all. I will need directions.
He. I beam widely at her. The air between us feels warm with a light-hearted pleasance.
Directions are not nearly enough. For that journey, I will lead you myself. I'll be sure to bring
Of
you there
course.
safely, Margaret.
Margaret giggles under her breath.
Thank you. I'm positive you'll make for a better one than our last guide.
Of course. The two of us share a smile together for a moment's reprieve. However, for any of our wishes to come true, we need to refocus on the situation at hand. We allow the conversation to fade out. The last of our happy voices drift away from us and are absorbed into the mist. There is still not even a trace of the prowler on the bridges, nor any Nixie in the water. Both Margaret and I silently agree to speed up a bit. Alright. Margaret reaches over to take my hand into hers and squeezes lightly. I look at Margaret reassuring. Her hold isn't out of fear as it so easily could be. This time it is from a determined anticipation. We start running, our footsteps in sync. Oh, that we're gonna run all the way to... Oh. Is this a narrow bridge? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, it's just that it's narrow. Yeah, I remember now. Okay, so we need to, like, use fire against them. Her features are marred with concern. However, she manages to keep a
We
brave
should
face
keep going
on.
this way. There aren't any other branches here, and backtracking won't help us get to the shore.
Yep.
There's a bit of a limit on how much time we have to reach it.
Okay. I nod in agreement. At this point, going forward is our only option.
Could we possibly use burning paper to distract the Nixie again? It could keep those monsters away for long enough to cross this part.
Yep.
We could run after that.
Margaret doesn't reply immediately. She seems unsure of the idea. I realize it might not be possible to balance on the bridge while lighting and tossing paper torches all around. I accidentally clicked the right button again.
Will you give me the supplies for it if there are any left? I'd like to make some.
Margaret dons a loop-sided grin. She reads me as well as I do her.
You are very sharp, Kika, and very kind.
Thank you. I blush slightly at her words, a smile from within growing on my face.
I'll crumple the paper ahead of time and hand them to you as we go. Then you can light and throw.
Yeah. I gesture in agreement. The compromise is solid. Neither of us should be at too much risk if the job is shared between both her and myself. Alright. As I stand quietly amid the ripping and crunching of paper, I can't help but let some curiosity leak out.
What is, or rather was, that book?
Margaret rips another page out as if, of it as she answers.
It was a blank notebook. I had been feeling it.
The fact that she brought that with her on this journey makes the contents easy to guess. It also makes it clear why she's so readily tearing it up. I take a step out on a limb and attempt to brighten the mood, some with a teasing comment.
This is the second time you've saved me by finding something unexpected to light on fire. Should I be concerned that you have a pattern of setting what's around you ablaze?
Her eyebrows shoot up and she abruptly snorts.
No, you should not. The Nixie are afraid of light. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay. I still thought it best to check.
We both share a small laugh. It certainly didn't compare to Margaret's skill in that area, but it pleases me that we were able to enjoy it regardless. Once we have a fair amount of pieces to work with, I take out my own set of matches. I ignite one by striking it on my rough leather belt, and Margaret hands me a piece of paper. I light the paper ball and toss it into the abyssal lake. The light is jostled by a lone wave that definitely could not have been caused by the wind. The two of us begin to cross the bridge on forcibly steadied legs. Okay, we can skip this. We manage to cross. We keep running. My voice starts to shake and I barely get out of one last sentence. Did we run into the dead end, or are we actually going to make it? Oh, is it because she's too tired? Yep, okay. It's because she's too tired and she's like, I can't keep going. You can make it. We can make it. Even if we don't know what's at the end of this path, we can see it with our own eyes. My voice starts to shake and I barely get out one last sentence.
I don't want to go if you're not there with me.
Margaret looks up at me through the tears. She's scared. There's no longer a look of resignation. Still trembling, she starts to rise. I stand with her, a reserved smile forming. Once on her feet, Margaret takes some deep breaths, trying to calm the panic inside her. She looks at me fiercely and nods. She's going to come. Tears of my own start to fall. I offer my hand. Margaret takes it without hesitation. And then we keep running, and then we made it. After a moment of rest, I force myself off the ground, weakly, and stand on quivering legs. I face Margaret again, and this time she locks eyes with me. Margaret pushes herself up and scrambles towards me. She moves in such a hurry and on such unstable legs that she manages to get tangled in the hem of her skirt and tumbles. We're close enough that I'm able to catch her before she hits the ground. I support her as she straightens her skirt out. I'm deeply grateful that I'm able to be there for her. She smirks at me and I have to assume she's thinking about how my behavior makes me truly a typical guard. Oh, cute. Determination! But suddenly we're embracing. A giddy laugh bubbles up from her and she buries her face in the crook of my neck. She hugs me tightly. I can't keep the blissful smile off my face, and a new waterfall of tears spills down. Margaret lifts her head from my shoulder and gazes into my eyes. Neither of us let go as we stay in place and drink in the sight of each other. Our foreheads brush lightly as we relish in the joy of being alive together. A noise beside us brings me out of the moment. I frantically turn to see where it came from. The disturbance is enough to immediately shoot the tension back up. It's an immense surprise and thrill when Bemelle emerges into view. He stands a little ways away from, almost gawking at what could potentially be a pair of ghosts in front of him. His momentary shock dissipates and a relieved smile easily replaces it. He murmurs quietly,
You're alive.
Yep. My frayed nerves settle again. He made it to the other side. Our reunion is intentionally interrupted by the final member of the group, the guide, who seemingly materialized out of nowhere. doesn't have a mind to let us caught up in emotions on the shore of this lake.
It is time to leave this place. There is nothing left for you here.
I was gonna say he's gonna be like, you have to leave. Okay. And then the history real quick, just to remember what she said right before that. This all seems too terribly sad. Yep. I peer at her empathetically and reach over to her hand. I take it in mine tenderly. She looks down at our joined hands, and then at me, and manages a bittersweet smile. I regard the lake again. It is isolated and desolate. The mist still covering the surface like a suffocating rag.
Kika? Kika!
Margaret's worried voice beckons me back to the present. I turn my wistful face to determined as I realize that there's still much to accomplish ahead of me.
We can't stay here any longer.
Yeah, you need to go to Hammer. Margaret considers the words with concern. Despite her hesitation, she brings herself to ask a tentative question.
Would it be alright for me to come along?
Please.
Of course.
Of course.
The village I'm going to isn't exactly safe. However, you are more than welcome to join me, and I will make certain that you are protected there.
Let's go! Margaret's lips turn into a warm smile as she nods graciously.
Thank you. I need some place to go so I can procure a new pair of glasses and a new way to make a living. Besides, you're forcing yourself to act like nothing affects you, and that simply won't do.
I blink a few times, unsure of how to respond to that. I resign myself to looking away with an awkward smile on my face. Margaret hums a teasing tune as she cracks a grin. Her eyes drift close for a moment, and she grows reflective.
You know, it's very strange. I felt trapped in my own life. It was as if no matter what I did, I was always running in place, and there was no way to escape the small, miserable bubble I existed in.
She sneaks a glance at me before continuing.
That maze of bridges out there was much of the same. But we found a way out of that miserable place, and there was something for us at the end after all. I wonder if miracles like that can happen in the real world too.
I mean, that was the real world, my girl. You could have died there. Seems I'm not yet out of tears, as I feel the presence growing.
There is. I'll make sure of it.
Of course. Margaret regards me with a familiar teasing smile.
Are you still holding on to that idea from the island? Is there anything that can shake that determination of yours?
I half chuckle at the question.
I'm sure there has to be. However, I won't allow something that could break it to occur.
Yata! Margaret chortles before she grins at me charmingly.
I'm glad. That's something I treasure about you, Kika.
I can't help being a bit bashful. It is so nice to let myself feel how I honestly do. Sorry, Bemelle. Bemelle clears his throat, capturing my attention. I drag my eyes away from Margaret to him with a simper on my face for ignoring his presence all this time. Then I snap back to Margaret. I meet her deep inside her eyes.
It truly is time for us to leave this place.
Yeah, we need to go. Margaret's face glows with bravery and a new sort of inner strength.
Yes, let's go.
We turn around and walk away from the lake. Without looking back or stopping, I close my eyes and whisper beneath my breath, soft as falling leaf, to all those left behind within the lake of Sinless. I offer one last, reverent parting word.
Farewell.
Alright, ending. I hurried to Hammer as quickly as I could. I already failed to help another during my journey. I could not afford to fail the villagers. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. Yep. The brigadiers. But during the moments of calm and when the sun went down, I will remember the lake. Bemelle was a great help during the fight. His outwardly positive demeanor lifted the spirits of many around him. Yeah, he hadn't forgotten what he went through. He is pushing himself to be even stronger. I admire that about him, and I fully intend to support him the way he does for me. And Margaret? After putting Sinlos behind her, Margaret explained where she was originally from, but she had no plans on returning. Despite leaving everything she knew, Margaret boldly looks towards the future. I respect her for her bravery, and I hope for nothing more than the best. His name was Lou. I can only pray that those who care for him will learn the truth of what happened. Don't worry, they know. I've not heard nor seen the... yeah. As the tasking hammer comes to a close, I mentally prepare myself to return home. I'm all too worried that things can never be as they were. What I know for certain is that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross in-laws again. Yep. Though so much was lost, I believe that our lessons will keep the others from suffering the same way, and, in the end, something will be gained. And Margaret? Margaret returned to my village after the task at Hammer was over. I insisted that she stay with me for a time while she grew accustomed to her new surroundings. While she still liked to tease that all villages were the same, she was grateful for the offer. We are working together to find a new career that is better suited to her talents than the one that she was pursuing before, and it does not seem hopeless. She has already managed to acquaint herself with the villager elder. I believe it won't be long before she finds a place she can truly shine. It is incredible to still find fulfillment in these small joys. Despite the pain and hardship, I will continue to do all I can to protect others, as well as the life I've come to love. Lake of Voices. Alright, that was cute. Not exactly where I was expecting it to go, in the sense of like I thought it would be a little bit more heavy on the lovey-dovey thing. But that's pretty good. I like it. Now, let us go with Bemelle. Real quick. Alright, so we're only missing his and the other 3 from our last route, I think. And then he accidentally insults the guide. I'm sure you are forgiven, Bemelle.
I know you. You are brash but not intentionally cruel.
Yep.
I'm sure all is well.
And then we skip ahead. And then he makes us decide whether we stay or go.
And I believe you.
Okay. And I think after this comes the fight. Alright. There's a prowler behind him. That... I think it's because I took my lantern with me. I don't remember. Pull my melee forward. Kick it off. And then after that, current farmer and wait timer. The current farmer has worked so far. Yes. And then I wait the timer, and then we encourage her to keep going, and then we find Lou and we leave him behind, I think. Yeah, we're gonna have to leave him behind as well. I feel like I've done this one. And then the bridges are on fire. We are on the island. We rest, we wake up. And then each of them is going to their own place to start their thoughts. I have to see Bemelle. I've already done this though. Yep. Then I will continue to support you. Yep.
You have my thanks.
And he's blushing. And then after we speak to Margaret, we're gonna go take our little walk. Everything's fine on her end. She knows we have something going on. He's blushing. Now we're gonna spar together. Walk closer to Bemelle. And then what? much, so we're gonna let him get injured. And now we throw the torch, and then he's in pain. Hold on, let me just save real quick here, yes. And then I load. Oh shoot, I think that one was where. Okay, that's fine. Oh wait, history. I want to see first what they said. Margaret can't suppress the laugh. Oh yeah, he's doing like a mutiny. Sure, safely. What really is best for this situation? Okay, so we get the upper hand on the guide, and then yes, reload. And then that could work. That way, because he carries him, he won't have to take the medicine. Bemelle is bluffing. Even he isn't reckless enough to cross that bridge holding another person, but I can see why he'd go this far. The guide will not open up easily. I know without a doubt Bemelle will be careful and he won't waste this opportunity to find a better way for all of us. I just need to do what I can to make certain the guide doesn't call his bluff.
Please, you have to try to think of another way. There are so many branches. At least one other must be able to take us to the shore. I worry the worst will occur if this continues.
Yep. The guide waits an agonizing moment more.
There is another path. It is longer, however, and prowlers are a far more common sight.
Yep. Bemelle immediately lets out a bark of laughter. He is feeling awfully validated in this moment. It seems the guide had intended to keep information from us. If he could get away with it. I shake my head at the guide's warning. We can't allow him to move freely now. Not after learning that. Yeah.
It will still be more manageable than this bridge.
Yep. Margaret stirs on us, though she can hardly believe what's happening before her. Still, she remains quiet. Despite the guide's initial opinion, he sighs.
Go back a small ways. You will find a branch heading west. Take it.
Alright. With a satisfied grin, Bemelle readjusts the guide on his shoulders and moves to the head of the party again, leading the way back. We track through where we came. Along the way, Bemelle tries to make light conversation. He's recounting the battle in which I earned my title. The guide has his focus elsewhere. It is doubtful he's hearing a word Bemelle says. Margaret seems engaged by the tale at the very least. As he ends the story, he returns to me and smiles brightly.
Because of Kika's status, she has the option to choose which missions to take rather than have to do whatever she's told.
Really now?
Despite that, she accepts each task assigned to her. Our entire village is awfully proud to have
Of course they are. She's great. I smile lightly at the excessive praise Bemelle is happy to put on me.
You are always much too kind. Every guard does what's asked of them. I am no different from them. Or you, for that matter.
Bemelle chuckles airily at my words.
If there was nothing to admire about you, then I wouldn't do so. But the more I learn of who you are, the more I know for certain that I'm right about what I say.
Of course. I feel myself fluster a bit under all the flattery. Bemelle has always had a natural camaraderie with the guards. Only now have I started to realize he has made an effort to be extra kind to me all this time. I look back at him, now spinning another riveting tale about my heroics, and I'm struck by how much of a thoughtful man Bemelle is. He seems completely dedicated to making sure I'm surrounded by pleasance, even in dark times such as these. Later on, our path weaving through the labyrinth of boards, Bemelle becomes uncharacteristically quiet. I look over to see that his breathing is heavy. Carrying the guy is starting to take its toll. I feel the urge to say something, however I bite my tongue. That would only give the guide a reason to demand his medicine, and that's a situation neither Bemelle or I want. I'm watching as Bemelle's knees suddenly lock up and he nearly stumbles forward. He catches himself and manages to stay on 2 feet, yet the guide starts to slip from his grasp. Bemelle tightens his grip and hoists him back up all the way onto his shoulders. I can't read. The guide's face twists into a grimace at being jostled. Bemelle attempts to mask his fumble with a laugh.
I hope you aren't falling asleep up there. You've got to stay on your toes, even if you aren't walking on them. You're leading the way.
There we go. Sorry, I was stretching. The guide scrunches his nose in another display of pain. Or perhaps it is annoyance.
Why are you so eager to die?
Not sure where you got an idea like that from. I've already explained that I'm doing this precisely so we won't die. Preventing you from leaving us to those monsters is worth a little added weight.
The guy clicks his tongue and sneers at Bemelle.
Letting me lead uninterrupted means there was a chance I could leave you behind, yes. However, that was a moderate risk compared to the enormous one you are taking right now by carrying another person. It is not you who benefited from this.
Bemelle clicks an eyebrow to the guy.
The risk was lowered then. Good to have a confirmation on that.
True. There's a lull in the conversation as the guide quiets. He adds one more thought, and I must assume he intends it to be his last contribution to this argument.
The heroic end isn't something to strive for. It is a waste.
Bemelle shakes his head firmly.
There have to be those who are willing to work for more than themselves. If there aren't, it won't be possible to build something greater than just a single person.
I always believed that I had no choice but to look at the world like the guide. However, I begin to wonder if perhaps I don't. Pragmatism isn't the only method that holds worth. After that exchange, the mood darkens. There is a definite shift between Bemelle and the guide, though before it can scale further, that distinct clicking noise becomes eerily apparent. I stiffen immediately and search around wildly with my eyes. Margaret also slows to listen nervously. The sound creeps down one of the branches of bridge connected to our set of boards. Sorry, I had to yawn. The rest of us follow. After some time, we were breaking away from the noise of the nearest prowler. Before we can relax, the erratic clicking, squelching sound coils forth yet again from ahead of us. We continue to push forward. However, no matter how fast we move or what bridges we take, we can't seem to escape the stalking sounds of these prowlers. Every so often, I turn my head to look behind us to see if there's anything. Sometimes it does seem as though a crooked shadow is following us, and others it doesn't appear as though there's anything at all.
Go down that path.
The guide points feebly towards another branch, with a hand that is even paler than usual. Bemelle nods and walks down the crossroad chosen by the guide. He has been given directions more frequently, and Bemelle is following them without hesitation. The prowlers grow louder, and now in addition to the squishing sounds, shouting in the lake begins to bubble up. It's beginning to feel as though we're completely surrounded. Tensions are high, and the situation is hectic. Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked out. How is Distraction Game going? Pretty good so far. We have managed to get all of Lou's endings. And now we're on the Bemelle ending. But we're still missing another 6 that are not necessarily character related. So yee. I really need to go to the bathroom though. But I'm gonna wait until we finish Bemelle's, and then I'm gonna take like a quick bathroom break, and then I'll be back and we'll do at least another one more if they're not too long. Tensions are high and the situation is growing hectic. Margaret becomes more frantic with each step. Bemelle is having trouble keeping collected, and I am trying to see everywhere at once at the sounds of the Nixie rising from the lake swiftly around us. Eventually, regardless of his best efforts, Bemelle has to stop to catch his breath. He inhales heavily, heaving gasp after gasp as sweat drips from his forehead.
We cannot stay here. We'll be trapped by prowlers.
You think? Through a rack of breaths, Bemelle quips back at the guy.
Unless you've lost the ability to give directions, that's not going to happen.
He starts to trudge on the path again, with heavy, hard-hitting steps. Am I enjoying my birthday week? I'm a little EP, but yes. Because I am really interested in this story. Margaret looks at Bemelle with concern, bringing her hands towards him half-heartedly. as she debates over how to help. I debate with myself over whether I should say something or not. I could help, but that might be better saved for when we're out of such dicey situation. We don't have any time to waste here. Let me carry him.
Bemelle, you can hold on to my lantern and I will take the guide. I can't manage for as long as you have. However, that would be better than pushing yourself to the limit.
True. Also, Margaret's ending was really cute and sweet actually. I really liked it. And they're all blushy. Very, very cute. So I wonder how Bemelle is gonna be. I give him a withering look. Bemelle returns my gaze, clearly conflicted. After a moment, he releases a sigh. Bemelle knows that the weight of this task isn't his alone. I had to watch that back then. Yeah. He cracks a smile at me.
I would appreciate that.
Have you already saved everyone?
The
No.
two of us make
Unfortunately,
for a much better
I
pair
actually
than he
do
and
believe so
Does
far.
our guide agree with that assessment?
I actually believe so far that you really can't, given the nature of who the guide and Lou are. It is almost impossible for you to take Lou along and someone else not taking the loss for it, I guess. Or, you know, just someone else dying in their place. So for these, for example, for maybe in the routes that we're missing, we are actually able to. But at least for this one, for Margaret's and Bemelle's, you can't really take him with you if you want them to survive. You can save like Margaret and Bemelle, which technically counts as everyone, but because you leave Lou behind, it counts as you letting someone die from the party. Like that should be 4 people plus the guide. I don't know. The guide gives us no answer and simply turns away. I smile awkwardly back at the both of them. Yeah, they did warn us, but I thought maybe it was like to deter you from trying. But I actually think maybe it is very much true. I can still look for a way though, until I run out of options. Bemelle places our injured lead down. I walk closer and offer my lantern to Bemelle. He puts his hands over mine instead. He rests there. I dip up a pile with myself and the lantern handle underneath momentarily. His fingers are trembling. After that brief gesture of affection, he takes the lantern with care. He then backs up with an encouraging grin on his face. I move to the guide and nod at him.
I will help you now.
The guide doesn't resist and makes no complaints over the switch. He accepts his fate as inevitability. I pull on the man's lanky limbs and to hoist him up onto my shoulders. The guide makes a few murmuring sounds of discomfort, and quickly passes as he settles again. I can see Bemelle is already breathing easier now that the load has been taken off his back.
We need to get out of here.
Yep. There is no disagreement, with each of us being likewise eager to leave this place. There are still swarms of prowlers all over. The guide points an arm over my shoulder.
Turn down that branch.
We walk at a brisk pace down the new bridge. After what feels like an endless gripping nightmare, the lake grows quiet again. We are finally let alone once more. Left alone. Our group stops to breathe, still reeling from how close we came to the edge. As if to mock our attempts to feel calm, the light of the sun starts to peek through the mist. We're running out of time. It shakes me to think this coming light is the true reason we were freed from the prowlers. I steel myself for the answer to the question I'm about to ask.
Is the shore close?
We will have to run.
Well, let's run then. I swallow down my throat. The weight of the guides feels much more overwhelming now. We're still racked with expression from the trial we only just survived. However, I stand firm to address him. I will not let anything drag us down.
We're almost there. We are going to make it.
Let's run! Bemelle smiles boldly at my words. Margaret nods a little shakily, yet she also seems determined to not be left behind. Let me read chat real quick. I'll actually have to watch back all streams that happened lately. I was in Spain and dinner time there is during your stream time, and because vacation, yeah. Tomorrow, so I'll watch them from then. Except on Mori, I couldn't find the time to catch up. Yep. Yeah, it's just like they use a lot of piano. I'm pretty sure they use in some others, like some other instruments. But it is really good. I really like it as well. I readjust the guide and tighten my grip on him. Then I begin to sprint down the bridge. As we run down a long stretch, the faint silhouette of land comes into view. I nearly can't believe that it's there when I see it. I ignore the pounding, aching feeling in my legs and pump them as hard as I can, focusing on the clear goal in the distance. We race against time as the sun rises even higher. Nearly all of the darkness has faded away. Even so, we don't stop. We keep pushing. The guide abruptly demands a change in direction. I start to take a sharp turn to the left when the added weight on his body causes me to tilt. Balance! I held my steps and managed to keep myself from wobbling too much. If I fall, I would take him with me, which would be good, but not really. Bemelle appears right at my side, his face full of fear. I cannot blame him. That was a far closer call than I would have liked. A fragile smile breaks out past all the concern. He addresses the guide, who is still stubbornly clinging to my back.
We're close enough to the end, I think. If Kika gives the medicine back, would you be able to manage the rest of the walk on your own?
There isn't time for it to take effect.
Yup. I try to steady my shaking legs. I've carried him far longer than I've ever needed to lift another person before. But it has to be done. We can't leave him here.
Well then, might I help you with that dead weight? I'll take one arm and you can keep the other.
Sure. I lift my eyes up to meet his. They shine confidently. Bemelle is a good man. Involving another person may be quite a risk, yet at this point I feel it will be worth it. Between the two of us, we should have the strength to go on.
Yes. Thank you.
I slide the guide down one side to make it easier for Bemelle to take hold. He takes position as the final part of a chain connecting all three of us. The guide's only contribution is nearly inaudible sigh. It's a nearly inaudible sigh I only catch because his face is close to my ear. Bemelle and I nod unknowingly at one another. Then we begin to run, fighting against the sunrise and our own exhaustion. I gotta go again. Have fun, happy soon. Thank you for stopping my confused, don't worry. Bemelle is a perfect man, right? He's so great. The three on our feet continue running as hard as we can until the duck draws near. I was saying that Margaret, and I could be a throuple because we're all the three of us together are great. Oh, so we actually make it, and we finally make it to the shore. I nearly bolt my body as far away from the shoreline as possible before completely collapsing onto the sand. The guy lets loose a deeply pained groan as he ends up being brought to the ground with me. He still takes the opportunity to gracelessly untangle himself from my hold. When I regain even the smallest modicum of strength, I dive my hand into one of my pouches and fetch the medicine we took from him. I offer the vial to the guide. He stares at it for a moment, and then at me. He silently accepts it. I look at him with my thoughts mixed. Should I apologize? Even if this part of the journey everyone was spared, the guide still suffers from our actions. While I ponder over what to do, the guide doesn't show the same lack of surety. He disregards my glances and downs the vial completely. His eyes slam closed. Anything said to him would be unwanted, regardless of what it was. That is much clear. Assuming that he would prefer to finally have his own space return, I push myself away. My joints creak, still burning from how much exertion they were forced to endure moments ago. The events that had just unfolded flashed before me. Suddenly, I feel myself being the one lifted. It's Bemelle who holds me close to his chest. I hear him quietly sniffling about me. Cute! I relax into Bemelle's embrace while wrapping my arms around his neck. Hot tears brim in the corner of my eyes, and I allow them to fall freely. Through this great emotion, he speaks quietly, more to himself than anyone else.
Thank God.
A small statement makes it fully sink in that we reached the shore. We actually made it after everything. We're safe. I'm so overjoyed that he's here, that the both of us made it together. We stay like this as long as his worn state can manage. What about Margaret? Even after placing me down, he never strays far. Hello, folks out in the corner, welcome. There is movement from the corner of my eye, and I notice that the guide is standing again. What is this about? This is a little horror-ish visual novel called Lake of Voices about your main character, whose name is Kika, needing to travel through a lake called Sinlos, which can only be crossed at night and with the help of a guide in order to avoid monsters called Nixie. So, yeah. And it has different routes, and thus a bunch of different endings. And right now we're on the quest of finding them all. So yeah. It is almost strange to see him behaving so normally, so distantly, after what we went through. He draws near to us, his cloak swaying in the morning wind with each step he takes.
It is time to leave this place. There is nothing left for you here.
Alright. I rise to my feet. He has a calm look on his face, though there is force behind his serenity. I open my mouth in an attempt to speak, however I quickly realize I still have little idea of what to say. He is untrustworthy, but in the end we only were able to cross because of him. And then the fog is removed from my thoughts. After everything that has happened, it becomes clear. There is something he's certainly right of. This lake isn't the place to linger. Yep. What I must do, if I truly want to defend others, is keep them from coming here at all. Yet when I return to my village, I intend to make that information accurately known to our elder. For that to happen, we must leave.
Goodbye.
Okay, give me, guys, a little second. I need to look at something real quick. I'm sorry if this is highly invasive, but you support Palestine. Yeah, but I don't really like to talk about these kind of things in my streams because that is not the purpose of them. So, yeah. It is kind of invasive and also not related to the stream. So, anyway, let us continue. I begin to feel uncomfortable under his scrutiny, but for a moment, I could swear I noticed him smiling slightly. However, it could easily be a trick of the morning sun. Perhaps he is amused at all of us arriving. But where is Margaret? Or did she actually... Yeah, there she is. Margaret steps over to us and regards the guide with a pointed expression.
This will be goodbye for us as well. I appreciate the opportunity you've graced me with. However, I won't be returning here.
The guide offers no reaction to her statement. In fact, he says nothing at all. Instead, he simply turns on his heel and leaves us alone once more. Also, I hadn't realized that this game is like 6 years old now. And it's for free! I still cannot believe that. Such a good game. Man. Okay, bye guide. We make no attempt to stop him, watching him silently as he disappears into the landscape. Hold on, let me drink water because my throat is getting very dry. It is painfully clear that no matter how meaningful this is for us, It's only another day in his life. Once the guide fully departs, Margaret frowns harshly.
This all seems so terribly sad.
Yep. I think we've had this... Oh yeah, Lou. We didn't even know his name was Lou, come on. Perhaps even melee, he holds me in his gaze sympathetically.
We don't have to put all of this behind us. Especially not right at this moment.
I stare at him silently, tongue-tied at his words. He gives me a comforting smile. The smile lingers for a bit before his expression promptly hardens.
I'm not sure I'm the same coming off the bridges as I was stepping onto them. It's something I'll always have to live with. That's alright, isn't it?
I mean, sure. We can overcome it as in a way, as in like, for it not to affect us as much in the future, but it is part of our learning experience, so it doesn't necessarily have to be something we need to forget. Especially if there's a lesson to learn from it, right? So, it makes more sense to me what he says about it, rather than just being like, let's leave it behind and forget about it. I stare at him tenderly.
Yes, it is.
This won't be the last time we face situations where lives are on the line. I understand that difficult decisions will need to be made. Still, I am not going to let anyone abandon someone else, if I can help it. I can always look for another way.
Wise words from
After
Bemelle.
all, it's impossible that I could ever be the most logical person in the room. Someone else will stop too much recklessness from happening. And then, occasionally, my focus on finding a solution to help all instead of accepting a painful reality will make a difference.
True. I feel tears incoming and manage to smile for him. Heartbroken and joyful.
I think that's wonderful.
And very
much like you.
He smiles happily, though then takes an bashful look.
Let me add that I don't want you to feel as though you personally need to make up for my idealism. I'm not your responsibility, and I'd like for you to be happy and honest about how you feel, and
he's rambling. He started rambling, so I cut him off before he can work himself up further.
Bemelle, you have never been my responsibility. You're my partner, and you don't have to worry about me either. I understand. As a pair, I take pride in how one is strong where the other is weak.
And he's crying. Oh my god. I think this is the best ending. Period. He's really great. I like Bemelle a lot. And what Kika says is true. I mean, a partnership of any kind, not just like romantically, is all about balance. Complementing each other, so. Yay! Bemelle's eyes grow wet with tears of his own, and he grins ear to ear.
Kika, thank you.
Thank you too.
He wipes his damp eyes on his sleeve and chuckles self-consciously.
I hope that this means I'll be allowed to keep sharing your company from now on. It seems I've gotten used to seeing you each day.
That's completely fine by me.
More.
Yes. A warm sensation hovers between us. It means so much that we found what we each were missing in one another.
It truly is time for us to leave this place.
Yeah, we need to go.
That is music to my ears.
Let us leave. And what about Margaret? I turn around and walk away from the lake. Margaret notices and follows behind with no hesitation. I offer her a small smile, seeing her settle in step with me. Without looking back or stopping, I close my eyes and whisper beneath my breath. Yep. To all of those left behind within the lake of sin loss, I offer one last reverent parting word.
Farewell.
I hurried to hammer as quickly as I could. Yep. It was a desperate situation. We remember the lake. Bemelle was a great help. I could see the shadows in his eyes. Yep. After putting Zinglos behind her, Margaret explained where she was originally from, though she has no plans on returning. Margaret boldly looks towards the future. I respect her for her bravery, and I hope for nothing more than the best. When receiving payments for his services, the guide must give a report of all of those who both succeeded and failed to cross the lake. And there is Lou. Yep. Then the guide. Have not heard nor seen the guy since then. Okay. As the tasking hammer comes to a close, I mentally prepare myself to return home. I'm all too aware that things can never be as they were. What I know for certain is that my village elder must be told that no one is to cross in-laws again. Yep. It is for the best. And then, piano music. After we returned home, Bemelle adopted a wolf dog named Dedrick. Oh my gosh. He did not enjoy being alone at night, so soon after what we witnessed on Sinlos. I could understand how he felt. I told him that I am there at any time, if needed. Now he, along with Dedrick, regularly make themselves at home in my cabin. I would be lying if I said it did not bring me comfort having him here. We still spar together and are often partnered for missions, meaning we spend most days together. It is incredible to still find fulfillment in these small joys. Despite the pain and hardship, I will continue to do all I can to protect others, as well as the life I've come to love. Lake of Voices. Nice! Now, we do have another 3 endings pending, I think. 3? 1, 2, 3. Yep. So it's been already 2 hours, or almost 2 hours and a half. So I think we only have time for one more that will not take us that long, because the next one is based on choices it's based on things we've already done, but the other 2 are from like a new playthrough, let's say. So yeah, so I'm gonna do the final one, and then I think it's gonna be it for today. So I think we need to start a new game, not load anything. Yep, there we go. So let us skip ahead. And then everything is piano now that I think about it. Like, I thought there might have been some other instruments, but it's just piano. So good.
It's been years since the time of Garvin.
Yep. We skip, and then I believe we should go.
And I believe you.
This is the ending, I think, where we isolate ourselves from everyone, basically. We don't form deeper connections or anything like that, so... Not seriously. And then... we wait the timer so Bemelle dies. Yep. And then... turn. She dies. I start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind me. I don't want to watch this. I know exactly what will happen to her now. Hello, Akami! Welcome! How's it going? We're watching all our friends die. So kind of good-ish? Yeah, we just got like the good ending, so now I'm just going for the one where everyone dies. Margaret's anguished cries pierce through the night, then the screaming stops. This is a very good game, by the way. Very good visual level, and it's for free if you're ever interested. Just saying. My legs grow weak. It isn't right, but I push myself to keep going. I try to focus on the pounding on my feet, but my brain won't cooperate. Instead, I imagine Margaret's terror as she's clawed to pieces by the Nixie. Ooh! After everything, I didn't help her. We left her in the dark. As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. What hour? It's only you, my gal. How much longer will this last? We'll have to rest sometime. Oh, you were referring to the guide. Okay. Almost as if in response to my thought, the guide abruptly halts. I skid to a stop as well, sliding on the surface of the wood. The guide stares at something slightly out of view. I step up to join him, following his gaze further down the path. Free is always good, right? Oh, I forgot about Lou. We can either help him or just leave him behind. Oh, so he's telling us to leave him behind, and haven't we all lost enough as it is? I clench my fist in exasperation, disturbance rising at the lack of concern he allows for the departed. It's as if their existence had already been wiped bare from his mind. Probably has. The guide regards me piercingly. I have no intention of flinching in front of him, but there was no need to be concerned as he almost immediately turns his eyes to the newcomer. The man is standing now, though still hunched with his arms wrapped around himself, as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than at us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to him?
Do you know where you are and why you're here?
He glances up, not at me, but towards me, his eyes resting somewhere near my collarbone.
I'm fine. You all can go on your way. Forget you even saw me here.
No.
He lifts his head, wide eyes looking up at me incredulously.
You need a lantern in order to ward off the Nixie. The light keeps them at bay. You may come with us. I offer you my protection.
The guide interjects curtly.
If he is to come, then you along with him will need to travel split off from myself. You may only walk near enough to see my lantern, not my form, and no closer. I did not agree to lead this man.
Raw wrath boils up within me. Why is he being so unreasonable? He should not care if this man comes along. He has never let the presence of another person impact his own safety regardless. I turn a chug gulp into a headstrong huff. I raise my eyes to glower directly into his. I know an opponent I cannot defeat when I duel with one. An opponent? Why an opponent? An opponent. But that doesn't mean I can't make my disgust clear.
Alright, we will stay behind.
I keep my voice level until the sharp bite at the end. The guide makes eye contact with the newcomer one final time before turning and advancing forward, leaving us in his dimming lantern light. As I watch him move forward, I continue to seethe. My thoughts drift to all the events that have unfolded this dreaded night. Against my own wishes, I begin to feel torn between all the regrets and sympathies I have for Bemelle and Margaret, and the acknowledgement that it is because such things happened that the guide is likely refusing to take any chances. I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel or what I am meant to do anymore. My head starts to reel, leaving me with the only option there has ever been, pushing the emotions to the corners of my mind. The mission is all that matters for now. I release another bated breath and just barely shake my head. I widen my eyes, startled.
What?
Oh, this one doesn't have voice. Huh. I study him momentarily, speechless from the madness of his suggestion.
I'm not going to let you die out here. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure your safety.
At that, the bit of power he had seems to be whisked off his shoulders like a thin cape. He shrinks back into himself, silent once more. It's a relief to have this matter fully settled. I'd be damned if I let him stroll into a certain early end.
We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for him.
So we walk with him.
What are you doing out here without the guide?
Perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask, after all. Only the darkest of circumstances spurs someone to cross in-laws. But the situation is very strange. I might even go so far as to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years spent anticipating danger have made me wary.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself.
What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too? Or do you genuinely not remember how you arrived where you are?
No, it wasn't a joke. Or, well, there is a point to it all.
Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper.
But I don't know why I even tried. You'd think that I'd be able to call a spade already, right?
He looks up, noticing my gaze still level at him.
I'd rather not
and he
talk
shrugs.
about it.
As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at present. And like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me. Oh, I can skip ahead. Nice. And so he says he's not important, and this time we say nothing because we don't want to form any sort of relationship with anyone right now.
Honestly, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Alright. The guide's lantern, and then... Yep. We keep walking, we keep talking. The bridge is set on fire. We keep our pace racing across the bridges, but there's no sign of the guide anywhere. I begin to fear that we may never be able to catch up with him. I know how quickly he moves, and Luke keeps nearly falling as we make our way past the flames. I tighten my grip on him and push those thoughts out of my mind. I just need to keep moving forward. We will make it out of here. We keep down the path, the flames still gradually gnawing on the planks behind us. The guide doesn't turn up, nor do any signs of him, but we push on. We will not stop moving. Then we do. The bridge comes to a dead end of rotted out boards, collapsed into the lake. For a moment our breathing stops at once. If this was the way that led to the island, then... I flip back to face Lou, my expression unaffected. I'm not going to allow panic to sap us of judgment.
Let's look for another bridge.
I resolutely begin retracting our path. He follows without protest. Our regression is silent except for our footfalls and the snapping of soggy wood, attempting to burn. We frequently have to step over smoldering sections trying to come alight. At one point, we even have to walk one at a time, sideways, to avoid a wildly flickering small fire billowing out black smoke. Just as my spirit is beginning to dim, we come across different directions to take. Among all the forks, there are only two that aren't collapsed or too consumed by fire to risk following. Lou's gaze is flickering down either path. There's a palpable sense of anxiety coming from him.
I don't know. I don't know which way.
It's alright.
But it's not alright. We have to have something to go off of. Anything at all. A cold sweat trickles down my back. Before either of us can think further, a noise catches my attention. I hastily address
Did you hear
Lou.
that? It came from the right.
Lou and I trade looks. This could be the signal we need. But what if it
Do
isn't?
those monsters know how to whistle?
We should go right, I think. To where the sound came from.
Alright. I'm a little surprised Lou is offering his own opinion. It is good to hear, however. I take a deep
I
breath.
agree. There's more of a chance the whistle was a sign for good over ill.
Alright. Our course decided, we move as one down the right path, no longer hesitating. And then we're on the island, and the guide is with us. Beside me, Lou is still fast asleep. The guide, however, is nowhere to be seen. I realize that I don't recall seeing him lay down with everyone. It's likely he left us hours ago. There is a creeping silence here. I can't help but shudder at the hollow aching feeling inside of me. I refuse to relent. I shift my weight back and forth, unsure of what to do with myself. Memories of last night's journey flicker through my mind. And then I notice Lou begin to stare. No reaction.
We should eat something soon.
Don't worry about me.
Yep.
You won't make it very far if you don't have something to eat.
No thanks.
I don't know what to do. There's a little of silence between us. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm skipping people who have not watched me play, is because I already seen these dialogues. But sometimes it won't, because it's like a new
is still dangerous.
section
If you leave the center of the island, remain cautious.
decisions, in a way.
Before the sun sets, I will be in this area. It would be wise to meet me here before nightfall.
I'm sorry for what happened last night.
He speaks weakly as he looks up at me, eyes filled with sorrow. He shifts his
You
focus
would have been
downwards.
better off without me.
Do you mean when I had to stay behind?
Yes, you got caught up in the fire and it was a disaster.
It's alright.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened in the end. Besides, it isn't your fault that things turned out this way.
It was closer to being my fault than anyone else's. I wasn't supposed to be here, and all I did was get in the way. I never should have stayed.
Alright. Everything is falling apart and I do not have the power to change this. Quietly I speak. I need to be alone. And then I'll sulk by myself and reunite with them later.
Hello.
Lou is gone. He's dead.
Nice.
What?
Well, everything is going swimmingly. I mean, it's the route that I knew we would take, but I thought that maybe he would be alive a little longer. I don't know. Anyway, seconds tick by and the guy says nothing as my panic pounds higher, harder, and takes full control of my mind. This is not possible. No, this is a mistake.
We have to go look for him.
I would not claim this without good reason. Wait and you'll see. Night will fall and Lou will not come to meet us. We are the only two remaining.
Nice. I do sink to the ground at that. All my thoughts, the sound of my breath, coming in and out of my very heartbeat forming two letters. No. 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 I cup my hands against my head. Why? I look up to the towering stoic face of the guide, begging for an explanation. Something. Anything but this. He gives no comfort. My tears start and stop from one moment to the next with wildly tumultuous emotions. I am in brutal agony, bawling my eyes out and shouting indecipherably. Then I am feeling nothing, laying in a cool void where everything seems inconsequential and so far away from me. Bemelle, Margaret, Lou. The heartbeat comes back. I have failed. I failed them. I failed every single one of them. I couldn't help anyone. I sniff back deeply, tears falling down my face once more. I manage a small miracle. I stand. The guy says nothing. I'm left with just my own thoughts and the heartbeat softly drumming as we wait for the tortuous riches to surface. I lean against the tree, slowly reminding myself how to walk again, as time runs by too fast or drags on too slow. A blanket of stars slowly creeps over the horizon. As the day truly descends into the night, I still hold on to a desperate, unreasonable flicker of hope that eventually Lou will appear through the bushes, ready to continue the journey. He never does. My hope is blown out by the wind rushing across the lake. Suddenly, there is a gurgling. The water parts as the bridges of Sindos rise, powered by some unnatural force, creaking like they might fall apart. We walk onto the wide open shore. Alright. The guide is quick to return to the bridges, making haste towards them. That gets my attention.
The island is no longer safe now that the sun has set. We must leave.
Alright. I understand what he's saying. Still, I return my attention to the lake. For a moment I listen to the near silence of the water, steeling myself for what is to come. Then I place my feet firmly onto the dock. Against what any natural instincts would advise me, I have returned to the misty labyrinth of riches. Wait, I think I made a mistake. Or not, I don't know. The guide and I make no attempts to converse with one another. We are as quiet as the lake as we are crossing. Feels as though barely any time has passed when I realize that half the night has crept by. We encounter a few sunken bridges, which force us to reroute, while other paths were rutting enough to make us stagger our steps. However, the biggest threat of all is eerily absent: the prowlers. I haven't seen more than shadowy glimpses of them down the other paths, and even those may have simply been tricks of the fog. I feel I may have been even more on edge tonight than the last. I ponder whether they're still wary from consuming blaze that lit up the night yesterday, or if there are less dragging themselves across the bridges than usual because many have already gotten what they wanted. My skin crawls with the touch of icy fingers at the thought, and I can't control the sharp shiver that travels down my spine. I look ahead towards the guide, pensively before coming to a decision.
Where might the prowlers be?
He doesn't respond. Perhaps he didn't hear me? I debate whether to repeat my question or not before he suddenly replies.
Allowing others to die is an easy path to follow. It is keeping them alive that makes it so difficult for one to cross Sinlos.
That isn't an answer to my question. His vagueness feels intentional. His avoidance doesn't stop the horrifying realization from coming to my mind. I still live because he died. This isn't right. I try to swallow, but my mouth is a desert. It shouldn't have happened like this. I promised I would protect everyone, not benefit from their deaths. Every step on the damp wood, my feet feel more like lead. I feel the weight of them on my feet, like I am dragging their remains with me as they wonder why we could not help them. My body moves unbidden, unable to stop even with my thoughts in tatters. A notion that something might still be out there, that all of this could come to an end, calls me onward. After hours of navigating the complex maze of bridges, the faint silhouette of the shore creeps into view. My eyes widen at the sight. It is almost unbelievable that we could come this far. The guide increases his pace, and I cautiously follow suit. We near the very end of the bridges. I can smell the trees and the earth, and even through the fog, I can almost count the remaining bridges between us and land. And there's a prowler, but between the end and us, a prowler appears. I eye the monster intently. It makes no move to leave us, so I turn to the guide instead.
Take my lantern. Once it's scared off, we'll make our way to the shore. It shouldn't be an issue with it so close by.
The guide says nothing, however he extends his hand to accept my offer. I feel my body tense for a moment before relinquishing my light to the guide. It's not much further, I'm sure we can make it. The guide slowly steps ahead. He and the creature brace for confrontation. I sail close enough to the guide's back to keep from being left behind in the darkness. He quietly whispers,
"Be ready to run. Don't get left behind."
He then darts forward and launches the light directly at the prowler. It makes a snarling hiss as it retreats defeated back into the black waters. Neither of us waste even a second looking back. We push forward. I race across the bridges, desperately trying to keep the guide's light-edged figure in clear sight. I run as fast as I can possibly manage without slipping on the boards. We run across the entire way, spurred on by the shoreline rapidly approaching. Miraculously, I feel my feet plunge into dirt. I stumble forwards, nearly collapsing onto the ground, while trying to catch my breath. It feels as though I've come out of a long dream. We made it. After a moment of processing everything that just happened and pulling myself together, I rise fully to my feet and stand tall. I turn back towards the lake. Fog drifts across the empty, stagnant waters, as menacing as when I first laid eyes on it. I can't bear to tear my eyes from the sight. It's as though reality halts as I stare deeply at the surface. I shake away the sensation. I'm alive. I made it across, and now I will be able to unite the villagers and remove the brigadiers. But at what cost? My mind turns over itself. I can still faintly feel wet, rigid hands on my ankle, a ghostly reminder of the Nixie. I know the hands are not real, but that doesn't loosen their grip. My feelings simmer beneath my own surface, fighting for dominance. Gratitude, anger, relief, guilt, hope and sorrow are battling inside of me. They pull in so many different directions at once that I can't even think. I don't know what to do. My turmoil abruptly ends at the sound of the guide's voice.
You can't stay.
I finally rip my eyes away from the lake. I fix them instead directly onto the guide.
There is nothing left for you here. You must return to the world and leave this place behind.
True. Has Bemelle been romanced yet? Yes, we already romanced Bemelle. It was very nice. I think best ending, 10 out of 10. But now I have gone through the path where I killed everyone. Well, I get everyone killed, so now I'm sad again.
I expect to never see you again.
Why? Can't accept it. I'm consumed by a whirlpool of thoughts. I wasn't able to help anyone. I am entirely alone. As I continue to stare at the guide, tears well up in my eyes and redden spill over. He gives me no acknowledgement at all. I wiped the feeling from my face completely. I must continue on. I have no other choice left before me. With quaking legs, I march forward solemnly into the forest. I do not look back even once at that cursed lake during my retreat. However, I offer one last word.
Farewell.
I whisper softly, almost silently. It's a bitter farewell to all of those who failed to escape the darkness and are forever lost. I can scarcely remember the rest of the trip. All I know for sure is that I did arrive in Hammer in time to help. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. But during the moments of calm and when the sun went down, I would remember the lake. The town folks were simply deeply sympathetic towards me after learning that I was there to witness 3 souls being lost to the dark waters. It was a slight comfort. The guilt at my failure remained sharp even still. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. He will remain obscured in that realm of fog and fear, a mysterious light in the distance that is ever out of reach of the real world. I know that I will return to my village soon. Despite my own feelings, I must not let them know this journey has affected me. I need to be strong. There is no other way. Death. Continued forward, no matter the loss. Good, he is best ending, yes. And this was bad ending, very bad ending. So, it's been almost 3 hours. So, as I predicted, I thought this one was going to be a little bit shorter, but it ended up being longer than I expected. So, as I predicted, I am not going to be able to do the other 2 endings, and they're the final ones this stream. So there might be yet another stream of this game, probably next week. But we still have bonus content right here. Like, we unlocked it last time, I think. And so there's like, oh, now we have, oh no, it's just 3. Magical Night, Loose Perspective, and Interview with the Guide. Oh, Interview with the Guide. I don't know what a Magical Night is, but if it has Margaret and Bemelle, I am totally on board for it. But we also have those yet to explore, so... The guide probably left in fear after you mercilessly killed 3 people. He said he only once needs to die, but you just want 3 people. Oh man, just wait until you watch the lore drop in the last stream. My goodness, that one was a wild ride. But anyway, with that guys, I think I'm gonna have to leave it here for today, because I have work to do, and I have preparations to make for Friday. So, with that, thank you so much for coming, thank you so much for being here and giving me a couple of your hours. I hope you had fun. This is a very interesting game and very fun, so I would encourage you to please support it in any way you can, or at least the developers, since it's for free and it has a lot of content. So yeah, so more games like these can exist in the future. We must send Connor to the library again. But anyway, I will see you tomorrow with Slay the Princess, which I am extremely excited about. As you can tell by my eyes now, I am extremely excited about Slay the Princess. So I hope to see you there, and we will continue our wonderful birthday week. You too, Akumi. So I will leave you guys to the ending screen before I keep on yapping. Really fun stream. Thank you. I'm glad. And so with that, guys, I will be seeing you tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye. Have a good rest of your day, evening, night, wherever you live. Happy time zone.